higher than previously expected in tonight's federal budget. 2024's financial blueprint predicted the nation would owe $934 billion this financial year. That's blown out by another $6 billion. Labor says it's still a better situation than when it came to power. A $750 million hydrogen plant in South Australia has reportedly been scrapped. The plant would have been built in Port Pirie by FIVEAA, which operates the Nearstar lead smelter in the town. The facility was due to open this year, with engineering completed last year, but the cost of construction and limited interest from buyers for the green product are given as reasons for the decision. It's the latest green hydrogen plant to go off the rails after Andrew Forrest scrapped his plans last year, and the Queensland government just last month cancelling a $1 billion project. The Malinauskas government's plans for a green hydrogen plant at FIVEAA are also on the back burner, the funding put into rescuing the blast furnace from insolvency. The number of trainee teachers failing essential literacy tests has nearly doubled since 2016. Danny Geddes reports.
Graduate teachers must pass the literacy and numeracy test before entering the classroom, but figures show a worrying rise in first-time failures. Thousands of graduate teachers are struggling with basic punctuation, raising alarms about the readiness of future educators. The test now boasts a fail rate of 10.4% for literacy and 6.5% for numeracy. It sparked concerns over the standards of our next generation of educators.
Turkey has experienced its largest wave of arrests in more than a decade. Hundreds detained over ongoing protests sparked by the arrest of Istanbul's mayor. The arrest has seen a politically charged move, particularly since he's a key challenger in the upcoming presidential election. Despite a government-imposed ban on protests, thousands of Turks continue to take to the streets in defiance, including this man in Istanbul.
We want people to choose the elected, and we want the free will to choose who we want without them being imprisoned.
Help finally arrived yesterday for the family of four stranded in the SA outback. The family reported missing Friday after they set off from Oodnadatta and failed to arrive at their destination in the Northern Territory. After hours of scouring the region, a helicopter found them alongside their bogged vehicle. One of the stranded travellers, Bridget Doolan, saying it was a frightening ordeal.
Yes, it was scary, but we just keep praying, knowing that God will answer our prayer, which He did, and send out help.
There are warnings Australia could become a breeding ground for measles as case numbers grow. There were 18 infections in the state last year, while in Victoria there have already been 13 this year. UNSW Associate Professor Holly Seal says many of these cases are linked to travellers returning from overseas.
Now the concern, obviously, with having so many different outbreaks happening overseas is that we may see an increase in those number of cases coming back into Australia.
The US Defence Secretary accidentally texted sensitive war plans to a journalist. The editor of The Atlantic magazine claims Pete Hegseth included him in the group chat with Vice President J.D. Vance and National Security Advisor Mike Waltz advising of plans to strike Houthi rebels in Yemen. Now turning to FIVEAA Sport.
Gliderol Garage Doors, adding strength, style and safety to your home. Gliderol.com.au.
Here's Tom Wren.
Thank you, Matty. Adelaide is being tipped to do a Hawthorn this season, going from a bottom 8 side to a premiership contender in the space of a year. Leading AFL analyst Matthew Lloyd says there have been promising signs from the Crows across the first few rounds.
So they've only beaten St Kilda and the Bombers, so they've still got tougher challenges to await. But sometimes you get a group of players that are all at the right age. They're 50 to 100 games. They've recruited absolute class in Isaac Rankin, Jordan Dawson. They do look like the team that could bolt up and potentially be top 4.
Yeah, let's hope so. Australian Adam Walton has moved into the round of 16 at the Miami Tennis Open. Jordan Thompson, though, has bowed out to top seed Alexander Zverev. Fellow Aussie Alex de Minaur will play a little later this morning in his third-round match. Let's go to cricket. South Australia's players will fine-tune ahead of the Sheffield Shield final later today when they train. That's ahead of tomorrow's match, which begins against Queensland at Karen Rolton Oval. Meantime, Mitch Marsh has blasted 72 from only 36 balls, but it wasn't enough as his Lucknow Super Giants lost to the Delhi Capitals by 1 wicket in a thrilling match in the IPL. And the Socceroos are seeking to continue their World Cup momentum when they take on China tonight in a crucial World Cup qualifier. There's 3 games left in this stage of qualifying. The top 2 sides progress automatically to the World Cup, and the Aussies are in second spot but are only 1 point clear of third-placed Saudi Arabia. And that's the 5AA Sport.
5AA's forecast.
Switch and save on service and repairs. Call 1300 Automasters.
Sunny days ahead, 31 today, 32 tomorrow and Thursday, 33 on Friday, right now 13. 5AA, always Adelaide.
Hey Rick, it's Chris from Automasters. Just thought I'd give you a quick rundown on some of the things on the car.
Now you can see what we see.
Just want to show you two little things on the CX-5.
AutoCam.
So this is the air filter out of your car.
Real-time video sent direct to you from your Automasters technician.
It's not actually the wheel bearing. What it is, the handbrake's integrated into the calipers.
See any issue firsthand. How good? Real-time reporting with instant SMS approval. Call 1300 Automasters. Great service guaranteed.
Now at Harvey Norman, no deposit, 16 months interest-free on a Latitude Go MasterCard and participating Latitude credit cards from Latitude Financial Services. Available on eligible purchases using an equal monthly payment plan. Monthly credit card fee currently $10.95 applies. Plus receive a bonus Harvey Norman gift card when you spend $1,000 or more on interest-free purchases. Shop furniture, bedding, laptops, TVs, fridges, appliances and more. New customers must be approved. Minimum financed amount $1,000. T's and C's, credit card fees, charges and exclusions apply. Now at Harvey Norman.
Hi, Sarah Wren here, Market Lead at 5AA. 2025 will mark my first year participating in the annual Vinnie's CEO Sleep Out. On June 19, SA business and community leaders will gather at Adelaide Zoo for one night to raise funds and awareness for people who sleep rough every night. If you're a business or community leader, help break the cycle of homelessness by signing up at ceosleepout.org.au.
Rochelle Charles was murdered and her killer has never been caught. Join me, Ashley Hansen, cold case specialist Damien Loon and Rochelle's sister Christy for Dear Rochelle, a new true crime series. Visit dearrochelle.com.au.
With so many holiday homes on Booking.com, there are so many Tina Feys I could be. Surfing Tina at a beach villa. Is that a shark? Or channel surfing Tina in an apartment. Ooh, a shark show. Book whoever you want to be. Booking.com, Booking.yeah.
Get out of the way, mate! Oh my God! What is this guy doing right at my arm?
Keep your cool in traffic with ice cold aircon from Automasters. Fix now, pay later options available. Call 1300 Automasters.
Stay informed, get involved. 5AA, always Adelaide.
The Hyundai Keys to Summer event ends soon. Unlock offers now. Visit Hyundai.com.au.
David Penberthy and Will Goodings, 5AA Breakfast.
8 minutes after 6, good morning to you and welcome to Tuesday on 5AA Breakfast. It is the 25th of March. It is Federal Budget Day and we've got you covered in the build-up this morning. You're going to hear from Phil Curry, the best political reporter in Canberra, with all the insights as to what's going to happen a little bit later today. Then, and I'm looking forward to this, we've spoken to Koshy yesterday, and Koshy's going to come on and give you a bit of a masterclass in how to listen to the budget, what to watch for, what to listen out for. If you want to go find information, how do you do that? What does he look for as someone who does this for a living and makes financial investments and decisions on the basis of what the Treasurer will say today? We'll get Koshy's federal budget preview after 8:30 today. Also, really looking forward to having a chat with Inspector Josh Hines from the Sapole Far North Local Service Area, who was part of the rescue operation to rescue that family caught in the furthest northern part of South Australia yesterday. The sensitivities involved in that, the logistical issues, we're going to talk to him about that entire process. Really looking forward to that. We've got a jury trial to conduct, and we'll get you across everything that's going on around the world, non-budget related as well. David Penberthy, good morning to you.
Good morning, listeners. Good morning, Will. I don't know about you, Will, but I have the opposite of budget fever today. This feels like this is the weirdest budget I can remember.
I think it's going to be the most boring budget in a long, long time.
Yeah.
I mean, not to say they're ever riveting, but this is, among a field of fairly boring options, this might be the most boring.
There's this thing where newspaper editors always want to get the budget story the day before the budget. It's a bit like shaking your presents under the Christmas tree to find out what's in it. But, you know, they sort of do this thing, the politicians, the government of the day, of drip feeding, soft drops where they'll give a leak to the Sunday paper. Often the Sunday paper gets the best and biggest story out of the budget a few days before, because the Sunday papers historically, and indeed to this day, have the biggest circulation in Australia. Combined, I still think all the Sunday papers have something like about 3 million readers or something when you pull them all together. That's readership, not circulation. So the government wants to, get the good news out there. But with this, there hasn't actually been anything. Like, what's been the big pre-budget leak? Has there been anything?
They dropped the big numbers this morning, so they sort of started talking about what the debt's going to be, what net debt is going to end up being. So for example, debt this year, $940 billion is what they're suggesting. Sorry, that's total. That's net debt. I think the only thing of any interest, and this is pretty boring to the layperson, I think, but it gives you an insight into what the political contest is going to be. I think it's really obvious what both sides are going to argue about this budget. So, Labor are going to say, Anthony Albanese is going to say, here are all the numbers. Look at where the budget is now. Look at where it was in the final year of Scott Morrison. And debt to GDP is better.
Inflation's better.
Inflation's better. Net debt is better than anyone was expecting. By all the big picture metrics, we're ahead. Angus Taylor, the Shadow Treasurer, and Peter Dutton are going to say, these guys have extended the cost of living crisis because they couldn't get out of their own way spending. Have a look at where they said they were going to be a year ago and look at where they are now.
Isn't the problem for the Libs, though, that in attacking Labor, they only seem to be attacking Labor in a theoretical sense, about spending too much money, but they haven't explained the specifics of what they're going to do differently.
Well, they keep matching everything.
Yeah, or actually spending more. They're going to spend even more on Medicare than Labor. So
the matching everything you do strategy to nullify it works well up until the point you need to start explaining why they're so bad at running the economy if you're going to do everything the same.
I mean, the one big difference is that they have said that they're going to. Sorry, I said gonna. I hope Mum wasn't up and listening. I'll get a rude text from her saying, "Don't say gonna, say going to." They're going to do a bit of a mini Doge, Jacinta Price, who's sort of risen and risen without trace since the Voice.
She's disappeared.
She's just fallen off the face of the earth. But she's meant to be the toe cutter. But there's been other than a few sort of broad and vague comments about culling the size of the public service. There's been no specific. Or they said something about the NDIS yesterday that needs to be reined in.
Cutting the NDIS to me sounds like the old efficiency dividend. You know what they'd say? Where are your savings coming from? We're going to get a 1% efficiency dividend from every department. Okay. Well, surely at every given juncture, everyone's trying to be more efficient and spend money a bit better and save a little bit of money.
They should be. Any organisation should be doing that all the time.
That's right. It feels like a bit on the never. What's the Doge equivalent in Australia? So, like a big picture, you know what it is? It's probably the Papua New Guinea rugby league team.
Yeah.
But they don't want to say that. But that's an example of big spending overseas that Elon Musk and his mob would look at in 3 seconds and go, well, that's gone.
See, I don't think, though, that the politics of Australia, even though one nation would love it, like 10% of the community would love it, and I'm sure some of our listeners would love it, but I think Australians are too astute, and Australian politicians are too astute to know that if we go on some aid-cutting spree in the South Pacific, it's pretty obvious who's going to fill it.
Completely.
Like, there's only one country, and they're just going to be licking their lips, going, all right, we'll do that.
Well, I think Americans at their core have this idea that, if the rest of the world ceased to exist, they'd get along just fine.
Oh, yeah,
well,
totally.
I don't think any Australian thinks that.
No.
We appreciate we're a much smaller fish in a big pond.
Oh, yeah, Americans
are convinced they might just be the pond.
Yeah, but you look at how little Americans travel, how few Americans hold passports compared to Australians. Like, it's not a very worldly place.
Yeah.
Like, you don't have to travel far in the US to meet people who are genuine hillbillies, who've got never left the country, very simple needs. They want to eat crap food every day, go hunting, and drink. Like it's quite a unique place.
Completely unique
in that sense.
Lots of police home care texts already coming through. 0480 08 1395 this morning. You can share your thoughts, of course, at any time and indeed on any subject.
Jack says Jacinta Price has a big presence in social media. Are you blokes blind?
Still not what we were saying.
We'll Instagram up and see what she's up to.
In terms of prominence on the Liberal front bench.
Yeah.
She's not rolled out as many press conferences as she is. As we might have expected when her star was so on the rise during The Voice.
Yeah, absolutely. When she was being touted as a leader.
Yeah.
Rob, our good mate Rob, says, can Albo do a big budget cash splash and the backup with a pre-election spending promise within a couple of weeks when we already have such a big deficit? That's a good question, Rob. Jim in Golden Grove says, morning, lads. I'm banking on the budget speech to cure my ongoing insomnia.
It will do that, I reckon.
Now, look, our good mate Con, I'm sure Con's up and about. The more important thing is tonight, 9:30, forget the budget speech. Well, but the budget will largely be over by then. I'm sure they'll still be talking about it on the political channels like Sky and that. But the really important thing on TV tonight is Australia-China, 9:30.
Must win. World Cup qualifier. That's the future of the country right there.
Annoyingly, I don't know how this happens with... Like, this is a marquee match. This is a must-win match for Australia. And if we win this, we've pretty much got 1 foot well and truly into World Cup qualification. So, a couple more games to come after this. We've got to play the Saudis and we've got to play Japan. But if we win tonight, and there's other matches going on too, Saudi Arabia are playing somebody else. We really want them to lose. We're pretty much almost there. It's not on free-to-air television. Yeah. It's on Paramount. I don't even know what Paramount is.
I think the soccer people would say away qualifiers have rarely been on free-to-air television. I think they used to be on Fox. I'll stand corrected on that.
Well, back in the good old days, everything
was on SBS. That was, yes, you're absolutely right about that.
You had Les Murray.
Yep.
You had Andy Pascalides. And then you had some Swedish film about an nymphomaniac who felt frustrated working in a pig iron factory and tapped into her desire to travel Europe sleeping with hundreds of men.
Yeah, the golden era.
That was great.
17 after 6, news headlines coming up next.
We're interrupting your show. Sorry. Because Binge Basic is now just $4.99 a month for 12 months. That's a bajillion hours of entertainment for less than $5 a month. Offer ends March 31st, so head to binge.com.au/4. New and returning customers only.
Adelaide's local, trusted and truly connected talkback radio station. 5AA. Always Adelaide.
No one loves a clean truck more than Ray Pepper. Ray even launched his own truck washers and developed his own truck strength cleaning products. Now you can try the range of Pepper's truck strength cleaning products for your car, caravan, boat or home. And they're made right here in Adelaide. Make it shine, because everything goes better with a bit of Pepper. Shop online and check out the Peppers Starter Pack with a bit of everything for just $69.90. Go to peppersaustralia.com.au.
The passing of someone close places unique stress on family and friends. At this time, Farrell & O'Neill Funerals are here to provide reassurance and peace of mind. Farrell & O'Neill offer creative guidance and advice to tailor a service that best honours your loved one. Whether a large gathering or a small, intimate service, Farrell & O'Neill share their generations of experience in tailoring a unique and meaningful farewell. Proudly SA family-owned and operated, because it's personal.
Parties, weddings, big events. What do they all have in common? Pals. You know your pals want to have a good time, but what will everyone want to drink? That's when you need to speak to Parafield Airport Liquor Store. Pals will make sure you've got the right type of drinks, the right amount, and best of all, we'll make sure you've got the best labels that will keep everyone talking about your event. Parafield Airport Liquor Store. Pals. Next to Roulette's Tavern, Kings Road, Parafield.
Discover the world with Bunnock Tours and Phil Hoffman Travel. Family run since forever. Travel with these small group specialists with just enough guidance and freedom to explore. Dive deep into the heart of each destination with sightseeing and tipping included. Plus return airfares on most tours. From ancient pyramids to bustling bazaars. Discover more of what you came to see with Bunnock Tours, because it's who you go with that matters. Visit pht.com.au.
If you can't stop using your mobile phone illegally, drink or drug driving, driving without a seatbelt, speeding or driving dangerously, South Australia Police will stop you. With more patrols, more road safety cameras and more driver testing, stop breaking the rules before we stop you. Think road safety. A message from the Government of South Australia.
5AA Breakfast is streaming live right now. To watch, simply head to 5AA on Facebook or YouTube. The Hyundai Keys to Summer event ends soon. Unlock offers now. Visit Hyundai.com.au.
David Penberthy and Will Goodings. 5AA Breakfast.
20 minutes after 6 news headlines on this Tuesday, the 25th of March. The Prime Minister won't be drawn on when he'll call the election, with Labor preparing today to hand down its fourth budget. That will include more energy bill relief for households and small businesses. He was asked, Anthony Albanese, if he's planning to call the election shortly after the budget, and said, well, that's right now, not his focus.
I continue to govern. We've got a budget to hand down. It's an important budget that will set Australia up on the path to a better future, and I look forward to that.
So if the election campaign goes for 6 weeks, which they normally do, he's going to have to hurry up and call it, because 1, 2, 3, 4, 5... Oh, if he called it this weekend, it'd be held on May the 3rd.
Yeah, 3rd or 10th, it feels like.
Yeah.
The two live dates we're down to now.
I don't reckon he'll do the 10th, because the 11th is Mother's Day. And I think a lot of people would get annoyed that, because you might have mum around for lunch. We often do that, and Saturday becomes your cooking day. You're running around doing the shopping, and some blended families, or a lot of people out there with different mums, ex-wives. A lot of travelling around to make sure everybody gets to see everybody on the Mother's Day weekend. I think he might go for the 3rd,
and he wants to avoid the showdown clearly as well.
Well, that's it. That's another big factor.
See, if he wants Nicole Flint to walk it in,
exactly,
put it on the showdown night, I reckon.
Exactly.
South Australia's defence and aerospace capabilities will take centre stage at Australia's largest international airshow, Avalon, from today. 60 local defence and space organisations will participate, making it the largest ever SA defence industry contingent represented at the Aerospace and Defence Exposition.
That sounds like your cup of tea, Will.
Where's my invite? Avalon?
Yeah.
I'm not offering anything. I just look around, go around and have a look. That's probably why I don't have one. We've had another high-range drink driver, this time at Pine Point, south of Ardrossan on York Peninsula. Police breath tested the driver late yesterday, who allegedly returned a positive result of .260, more than 5 times the legal limit.
That's drunk.
68-year-old man from Wool Bay was reported. He's lost his licence on the spot for 12 months. His car has been impounded.
Crikey, that is hammer drunk. Wool Bay's the coldest place I've ever been in South Australia.
Is that right?
Oh, my God. I remember it really clearly. For some weird reason, I decided to go squidding at night on the jetty and almost got hypothermia within about 3 minutes. And then I just thought, what happens if I actually catch a damn squid, though? I'm going to have to take it off the jag.
Yeah, and you might just freeze to death.
Just walk back to the shack. This is why Samtas exists. They've got squid there.
Yeah.
You don't need to catch them.
No. Perfectly.
Don't need to get covered in ink.
Perfectly comfortable climate conditions in
the middle
Samtas
of the night.
well.
In the middle of the night on the Wool Bay jetty. What the hell?
Some would describe that as fun.
A lot of people would.
Experts are warning measles case numbers could rise in Australia amid a spike in the US and Southeast Asia. The disease was in fact declared eliminated nationally in 2014, but infected travellers returning back to Australia have seen infections rise. University of New South Wales Associate Professor Holly Seal says staying up to date with vaccines is the best way to stay protected.
A GP or a pharmacist obviously can help you to work out whether or not you would have received 2 doses of the vaccine maybe as a child, and whether or not you should be getting an updated vaccine.
A leading journalist claims he received secret war plans from the Trump administration via text message. Jeffrey Goldberg was included in a group chat which discussed weapons, targets and timing related to airstrikes in Yemen just 2 hours before they happened.
How did that happen?
Now, we've all done that, but we expect slightly more of national security, don't we?
Yeah, totally. Imagine that. You've received this email in error. It says we're about to bomb Iran back to the Stone Age. Did he write a story about it, or did he sit on it?
Yeah, I think he's written a story about it after the fact.
Yeah, okay. So he didn't get out there going,
I'm being told.
Sources tell me.
Yeah. 13.7 degrees outside of the city at the moment, top of 31 today. Sunny day. It's a pretty simple forecast this week. 32 tomorrow and sunny, 32 on Thursday and sunny, 33 on Friday and sunny, 30 Saturday, sunny, Sunday, a little bit cooler, 26, and then Monday, 27. But anyway you slice it, sunny and pleasant conditions right throughout the week. Tom Wren is in the 5AA Breakfast studio with us. Gliderol Garage Doors, adding strength, style and safety to your home. Gliderol.com.au. Morning, Rennie.
Morning, Will. Morning, David. And that forecast is good in terms of the cricket. The Shield final, of course, starts tomorrow.
Perfect for it.
Yeah, great if you want to head on down. It looks like they've set it up really well there, temporary seating, so there'll be plenty of seats and room for people that want to head down there. In terms of the football, Jack Lukosius has had surgery on that knee, so he's now in recovery mode. He, of course, won't play this week and will probably miss 2 to 3 months. They're also going to miss Lockie Jones and Ryan Burton for Thursday night's match. But the Crows boys, we've been talking a lot about them, and you know how I've been quite bullish, and you know everyone's been talking about them a bit. Hasn't taken long for the media across the border to sort of catch up and start to take a little bit of notice, and that's what happens when you have a couple of wins early on, as impressively as they have. Let's have a listen to Matthew Lloyd, who's one of the leading analysts in the game.
So they've only beaten St Kilda and the Bombers, so they've still got tougher challenges to await. But sometimes you get a group of players that are all at the right age. They're 50 to 100 games. They've recruited absolute class in Isaac Rankin, Jordan Dawson. They do look like the team that could bolt up and potentially be top 4.
So he thinks they'll do a Hawthorn from last year and, be that side that comes up and, challenges for a flag, essentially.
Let's just beat North Melbourne, eh?
You happy? Are you happy with the expectation?
Well, it's deserved, but it does need a big sort of asterisk next to it, doesn't it? And I suppose Lottie did say, well, let's wait and see how they go against good sides. But
who are the good sides at the moment?
Well, that's a good question, isn't it?
Brisbane? You'd say, well, that'd be a challenge.
Brisbane almost lost to West Coast.
Yes, they did.
Yeah.
But
I think they'll take a while to warm up, I think.
Yeah.
I think they'll take...
But I'm just thinking, like, I was looking at the fixture going, okay, when's this challenge coming?
Mm-hmm.
I think originally everyone said, gather round Thursday night Geelong. Well, Geelong just lost to St Kilda.
Yeah, I've got my worries about Geelong. Some good news for them overnight. Tom Stewart's injury is not serious.
Yes.
So it looks like he's going to be, potentially even playing this week, which is big for them. I think he's almost their most important player.
But Freo were meant to be the bolter. They haven't won a game yet.
Yeah, they're struggling.
Thumped by Geelong.
Sydney,
and then they
Sydney
lost
aren't going yet.
Sydney, you've only just barely won that one game against Freo.
I think Collingwood will be up there. They just
GWS are good, I think.
GWS
are definitely good.
GWS can't win finals. So if you play them in September, you just you go through to the next round.
Yeah, I think Hawthorn are good.
Yeah, totally.
They're definitely good.
But I don't know. It feels like this Sunday's a danger game to me.
Yeah, I still think they'll get it done. I think Melbourne are on the slide in a big way. I think Melbourne are in trouble.
No, but talking about the North Melbourne game.
No, but North obviously just beat the D's.
Oh, yeah, of course.
But you're right, North Melbourne are on the way up. I think those sides that are really struggling, Richmond in previous years, North Melbourne, West Coast, even West Coast to a lesser degree, I think they're starting to show that I think Melbourne are actually in more trouble than those kinds of sides because they're just a bit in purgatory, I think. And Essendon, I think Essendon are in a world of hurt. But yeah, you're right. Look, it's going to take probably another 3 or 4 weeks for things to really settle down. But they're definitely catching the eye. So they're just going to have to deal with that external noise as well, I suppose now. And that's a good thing. You want to be a contender. You want to be talked about. You want people to say you're good.
You want to have class.
Yeah.
So I drifted in on the waterfront quotes there. Hey, what can you tell us about the Shield, Tom? So it starts tomorrow, 10:30.
Yep, 5 days.
5 days.
90 overs a side.
Is Kawaja playing for Queensland? Has he been picked?
Yeah, I think he'll be there.
Is anyone going to talk to him from the Queensland Cricket Association?
Maybe not the officials.
I reckon. I actually think Kawaja's totally in the right. Have you read the background to it?
Yeah, it's a bizarre story.
The Queensland administration came out and basically started talking about his injuries publicly and sort of raising eyebrows, going, "Yeah, let's just see if there's actually anything really going on with his hamstring." And Kawaja held that press conference last week where he was basically in tears, almost saying, if they want to check the veracity of this, it's all been logged with the medicos.
Yes,
and they said, like, maybe you can just have a bit of downtime and take it easy, as long as you keep up with your rehab. So he went to Melbourne for a bit of a break, did all of his rehab down there, and then they start briefing the media. The Queensland Sheffield Shield side is mentally fragile on the cusp of defeat.
Let's hope so. Yeah.
Meant they're a basket case.
Yeah. Well, remember, melting down from within.
Exactly.
They are.
Remember that a draw is good enough for South Australia. So I would say
they're a cot case.
Yeah. Trent Kelly's a great curator. He'll be working with Damien Hoff, but
the truck.
He just needs to make it an absolute highway out there.
Yes, come on, truck. You know what to do.
Win the toss, bat for 4 days.
Yep.
That's all you need to do.
2 for 600.
Yeah, exactly. From 400 overs.
That's right.
Good on you, ready?
Thanks, boys.
Rob says, Rob got a text. I'll read it out to you. It says, "We're about to bomb Yemen. To opt out of the text or halt the bombing, reply stop."
This is 5AA News. Always Adelaide.
Sunny and 31 today with the 6:30 news. I'm Matthew Pantelis.
Physio Extra offers Logomat and Armio robotic technology services at their Marion and Eastwood clinics. PhysioExtra.com.
Treasurer Jim Chalmers will tonight hand down his fourth budget, revealing a slightly higher debt than previously expected. Last year's budget paper showed gross debt at $934 billion this financial year. But tonight's document will reveal a $6 billion increase. Dr. Chalmers saying the result is still better than what Labor inherited when they came to power.
In dollar terms, our responsible economic management has delivered the biggest budget turnaround in a parliamentary term ever. And that's because by getting the budget in better nick, we can find room to help with the cost of living and strengthen Medicare and invest in the future.
Coalition analysis, though, suggests young people are being hit the hardest with bracket creep. Figures show full-time workers aged 15 to 34 are now paying up to $3,500 more income tax than they were 3 years ago. Police and private investigators will meet on Friday ahead of a weekend dig to find another set of missing children in Adelaide. Kirsty Gordon and Joanne Radcliffe were abducted from the Adelaide Oval in 1973. The weekend search will focus on two sites in the northern parts of the state between Jamestown and Orroroo, detailed in a letter by a convicted pedophile, Mark Marshall, who accused his father, Stanley Hart, of the girl's abduction and murder. Like the renewed search for the Beaumont children several weeks ago, the two sites have been previously searched by police with no results. This dig, though, will be more extensive. The Avalon Air Show gets underway from today. Brian Wilson reports.
It's the largest gathering in the show's 33-year history, with 28 nations participating in 3 days of industry conferences and round tables before the gates open to the public late on Friday. More than 350 aircraft are on display, 45 taking to the skies in dramatic military and low-level stunt flying performances. The event will also showcase emerging technologies, including unmanned aircraft and defence systems.
Turkey's president has accused the nation's opposition party of disturbing the peace as tens of thousands protest the jailing of an Istanbul mayor. Crowds have now gathered in the capital for a sixth consecutive day. President Erdogan says those behind the violence will be held accountable for their actions.
We as a nation have followed with astonishment the incidents that quickly turned into a violent movement after the calls to the street made by the leader of the main opposition party following a corruption operation centred in Istanbul.
Data shows thousands of teacher graduates are unable to spell or use basic punctuation. The first-time fail rate for the literacy and numeracy test has nearly doubled since 2016. Teachers are given unlimited chances to pass the test. A common scam targeting families is doing the rounds again, but surprisingly, 1 in 7 Australians have fallen victim to the "Hi Mum, Hi Dad" scam text, where a message is sent to a mobile pretending a son or daughter is in trouble or has lost their phone and needs money urgently. Former police officer Kylie Dennis, whose own mum almost was scammed out of $5,000, says if anyone gets an urgent message from an unknown number, they need to stop and think and ring their children's phones first.
If families could have a code word or something that they know that is important, then that then protects them as well.
Turning to 5AA Sport.
Colours, custom design, any house, any style. Gliderol Garage Doors. Gliderol.com.au.
Tom Wren, Jack Lukosius and his knee. How's he going?
Yeah, he's had the surgery, Matty, so that's good news. But the problem now is that he's going to spend at least a few months on the sidelines as he recovers from that fractured kneecap. So that means he won't obviously play on Thursday night against Essendon, and nor will Ryan Burton or Lockie Jones, who were both injured last weekend as well. Meantime, the Crows are building towards Sunday's home clash against North Melbourne at Adelaide Oval. Defender Wayne Miller telling Rowie and Timmy G he was impressed with how they performed against Essendon.
First of all, to get the win on the G, and we've played some good footy there, but yeah, it was good to get a good win against Essendon on the weekend. I thought we played a pretty team game of footy, and it all sort of just gelled for us.
So far, it's been 50-50 for the two Australians at the Miami Tennis Open. Craig Gabriel is there.
Brisbane's Adam Walton is enjoying the biggest tournament of his career. He's reached the last 16 at a Masters 1000 by beating Coleman Wong, who's had a breakthrough run himself, 7-6, 4-6, 6-4. The win puts him at a new career high in the live rankings at 85. Jordan Thompson led Alexander Zverev 4-1, but then the German got going, won 8 of 9 games and closed out the win 7-5, 6-4. Alex de Minaur plays later.
And South Australia's cricketers will train today ahead of tomorrow's Sheffield Shield final against Queensland that's going to be played at Karen Rolton Oval. And that's the 5AA Sport.
Our 5AA's forecast.
Switch and save on service and repairs. Call 1300 Automasters.
Sunny days ahead, 31 today, 32 tomorrow and Thursday, 33 on Friday. Right now it's 13. 5AA, always Adelaide.
The Hyundai Keys to Summer event ends soon. Unlock offers now. Visit Hyundai.com.au.
David Penberthy and Will Goodings. 5AA Breakfast.
24 minutes to 7 coming up this half hour. We're going to check in with SafeBowl. We've got the weather coming up for you as well. Jade Robran is out on the road for us. We'll have a chat with Jade. Phil Curry is 1 hour away with his federal budget preview. Then after 7 o'clock this morning, we've got our wrap of the morning stories, including is Donald Trump softening his position on the April 2 tariffs, Liberation Day as he's been calling it. Some
He's
suggestion
built it up so much.
Yeah, well,
it'd be pretty weird if you walked away from it.
The Wall Street Journal reporting this morning that he might be preparing to water it down a bit. And then he made a comment in a press conference today, in just the last half an hour, there's a few people going, maybe this is going to be gentler than first expected. We'll find out, and we'll talk more about that after 7 o'clock today.
Just don't do a portrait of him.
Don't do a portrait of him.
And if you do, make sure it's a good one.
About his portrait. He's deeply unhappy with that at the moment.
What if any of our listeners have ever done a portrait of themselves?
You got a portrait you're happy with, or
there would be people
you're devastated with.
Have you got a portrait of yourself at home, Will?
No, I don't.
In your study?
No, I do not.
Go in there with your velvet smoking jacket of an evening.
Oh, you just glance at it.
After the
wink
TV.
At it.
You're sort of Ron Burgundy
Still
style.
got it.
That's right.
No, I do not.
What's that Oscar Wilde book, Portrait of Dorian Gray?
Oh, yeah.
About a man who's tormented by aging. The portrait that reminds him of his lost youth.
One of the things happens with aging
book, that's all I know about it.
Is you see the next generation come through. I want to see if this voice of this contestant on American Idol is familiar.
When it rains, it pours, but you didn't even notice. It ain't raining anymore. It's hard to breathe when all you know is the struggle of staying above the rising water line. Well, the sky is finally opened, the rain and wind stop blowing, but you're stuck out.
The voice you're hearing is that of 19-year-old Lola, appeared on American Idol last night. Pretty good pedigree does Lola have. Her grandfather is Brian Wilson from the Beach Boys.
Which means her mum's in Wilson Pickett.
Her mum is in Wilson Phillips.
Wilson Phillips, not Wilson Pickett.
Yeah.
Wilson Pickett was not they, he was him.
He was Wilson, he was one person.
Yeah. Wilson Phillips, of course. Wow. She's got a stunning voice.
It's beautiful, isn't it?
Yeah.
Just what got me thinking, this is a question for you as the music man. Famous relations of musical greats. We have the father-son rule in the AFL, and the mother-son rules.
There's heaps in music. All of the Wainwrights are incredibly talented.
Yeah.
So
Rufus
Wainwright. Well, his dad is Loudon Wainwright.
Yeah.
Who wrote some terrific songs. The swimming song. He wrote that fantastic song, The Man Who Couldn't Cry, that's covered by Johnny Cash on his first American recordings record. Jeff Buckley, his dad, was a famous musician. Is
that right? I didn't know that.
Yeah. They both died very young. I got a weird feeling they both might have both drowned. I think his dad drowned too. I'm not sure about that.
Well, let us know what you think, folks. 82230000. Are there any that immediately spring to mind? You can jump on the Police Home Care text line as well. Andrew
what about
says,
we played that great audio a couple of years ago when the drummer from the Foo Fighters died,
and his son
took over.
Oh, that was amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, he played with them in their first concert after
They
he
did that
died.
incredible version of There Goes My Hero.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, and he played it.
Where Dave Grohl couldn't sing, he was
just crying the whole time.
Upset, yeah.
Carly Simon's daughter says, Andrew. Thank you, Andrew.
Yeah, okay.
Keep them coming in, 8223 or Police Home Care Text, or indeed Facebook and YouTube live stream, we should say as well. If you jump on board there, you can leave us your thoughts.
Our resident stats man, Ben Jordan, says on the weather forecast, March is on track for 17 days above 30 degrees. The average is only 8, but 1940 holds the record with 18 days above 30. Someone here talking about the Shield final, saying, hey, Rennie, check the Shield final rules. A draw is no longer good enough for SA because the result can be decided on first inning scores. That is actually correct. That's my reading of it as well. I think it's a good rule because it means you're duty bound to
Everyone
go
has
out
to
and play
play for
hard.
a result. It does diminish your advantage for finishing on top. I suppose you still get the home final, don't you? That's a pretty big advantage. But not as big as it used to be, where you didn't even need to win the game.
Yeah, quite a few people texting in about that. Which makes me think that there's a heck of a lot of interest in this game. Who's going along? It's going to be brilliant. I would love to go down there. I might actually try to go Friday.
Looks good.
Yeah, I was on the way to the Theberton dump yesterday. Had a good time at the dump, as I mentioned on the show when I was trying to change the subject after offending that listener. I wonder if she's still with us today. I wonder if I offended her so much that she's listening to another station. If that has happened, can we just ask, can everyone else who's listening get one of their friends who doesn't listen to the 5AA Breakfast Show to tune in? I'm not saying it's the best radio show in the world, but it's just not the worst.
We've got a spot available is what you're saying.
We've got a spot available. We need one new listener. Unless that lady is listening. Sorry,
and then we're full up. Are we?
Yeah. Oh no, we can
squeeze a couple more in.
Yeah, all right.
Well,
there's room. There's room.
Lots of suggestions coming through. Miley Cyrus, Dave Grohl's daughter, apparently very talented, says Andrew, who's just texted in. There's a flooding through on the Police Home Care text line.
Don't you think it's a bit like, the father-son rule in AFL, where if you grow up in an environment where, in the same way, the house is full of footballs and, cones for doing drills in the backyard and skipping ropes for doing exercise and what have you. If you grow up in a house that's full of guitars and amps and sheet music,
when you're around it,
you're likely to gravitate towards it because it's just what you've grown up with.
And it's the conversations you hear with your parents and their friends. They're talking about it. And
Where's
I
Dad?
like that, or I
he's
don't
on
like
tour
that.
Again?
Yeah. Or when he talks about music, he's talking about it differently to how average Joes talk about music. Yeah, I think it's the least surprising thing in the world.
I reckon if you did grow up in a household like that, you'd probably find it hard not to want to do that for a living because you think, well, I could do this or I could become an accountant.
Yeah, you reckon you're flicking through the SATAC guide.
Yeah, I'd rather live the same life my father David Lee Roth has led.
Podiatry or rock star.
Yeah, that's right.
Meredith's called in. Morning, Meredith.
Morning. How are we this morning?
We're good, thank you, Meredith.
That's good. Why didn't Rowie do the commentating on Sunday?
Oh, he was otherwise engaged. He was at a pre-organised event, Meredith, but he'll be back this weekend.
Not that fishing thing.
No, I think it was a family thing.
Oh, okay. Do you know if it's a live telecast on Sunday?
On the radio?
Not be on the radio, but on TV.
Yeah, I believe it is.
I think
it's only Saturdays. Saturday's
games.
the sort of the AFL's designated free pay TV day. So Sundays are all all live.
Oh, so we'll see it direct for Sunday. Good.
Yeah.
Because it's going to be pretty warm. Gee.
It is going to be warm, Meredith.
Yeah, I'm glad when summer's over. And I heard on overnight with Tony, somebody rang in and said that he was ringing from Perth, and he said we've had a week of over nearly 40 and over.
Yeah, it sounds like we're about to get the tail end of that, Meredith, with the warm days we've got
we
coming
don't get it. Gee, I want something. I want winter. Hurry up.
Yeah, it's meant to be all.
Well, it's going to be pretty much 30 every day for the next week, Meredith.
I can't remember being 30. It's too long ago.
You wanted to talk about Elvis, Meredith?
Yeah, Elvis and Lisa Marie.
Very talented family.
Mm-hmm.
You a big Elvis fan, Meredith?
Oh, yeah. Never liked him when I was young. Then I fell in love with him when I started to watch him in his Hawaii concert, and I loved him ever since then.
That Hawaii
but I've got
concert.
another lover now that's passed away, and that was David Soul.
David Soul, yeah.
It was a great one. Thank you, Meredith. Riley Keough, who's an actress, she starred in a show, I wonder if our listeners, any of them have seen it, called Daisy Jones and the Six. It was basically a non-faithful retelling of some of... It was inspired by... This is a better way of saying it. It was inspired by Fleetwood Mac and the romance in the band. It's a story about a band in the 70s. She stars as the who they get in as the lead singer. She'd never sung in her life. No musical interest whatsoever. And you might go, that's weird, being Elvis's granddaughter. She's unbelievable. Now, if you would want to make a case that there is genetic gifts of singing passed down, it is incredible how natural she looks like fronting a band and being a singer. In fact, they released the music from the show, and it's all quite popular. But it's a great story because they got her in and they went, "Oh, are you going to be the singer?" And she said, "Well, I can't sing." And then she started singing. They went, "Well, yeah, we got news for you, love." John in Grange, good morning.
Good morning. Are you ready, Boots? What about Frank and Nancy Sinatra?
Excellent choice,
Yeah,
John.
great choice.
I love Nancy Sinatra. Who was that guy? She did all those duets with Lee Hazelwood. Absolute weirdo. Called himself the Space Cowboy. Have you ever heard that song Velvet Morning?
No.
Oh, it's just so bizarre. But yeah, Nancy Sinatra, terrific.
Thank you, John. Let's go to West Croydon. Mark, good morning.
Gentlemen, good morning to you both. Add John and Julian Lennon.
Yeah, good pick. Very good pick. Sounds so much like his dad too.
Eerily so. Thank you, Mark. Appreciate all excellent calls and suggestions. 8223 0000 number, or you can let us know what your thoughts are on the police home care text line. We're going to take a quick break here. Police and weather coming up in a moment. First, though, we'll check traffic for the first time this morning thanks to Corporate Clean Property Services. They're referred for a reason, after all. They don't cut corners. They clean them.
Thanks, Will, and morning, David. A crash to look out for at Karata Park this morning. It's on Anzac Highway near the shopping centre. Got delays inbound at the moment. Dry Creek lights on the blink there. The railway lights, Cormac Road near Churchill Road North, and slow for works at Glenelg East, Brighton Road near Dunbar Terrace. Busy South Road at Clovelly Park with the camera this morning. Lyons Road at Holden Hill. Bob J. T-Marts won't be beaten with their best tyre price guarantee. When you're after great service and unbeatable value, head to the tyre and wheel specialists, Bob J. T-Marts. They'll look after you. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Try the new Subway signature menu today. It's all your favourites, made with just the right amount of tasty, cravey, cheesy goodness. Now that's the Subway to Tasty Town, where that sub is the mayor. But you're also allowed to eat the mayor.
Are you in the draw? Just 3 days to go for the chance to live mortgage-free in Somerton Park. Only 3 days to buy your tickets in the Hospital Research Foundation Home Lottery. Live the dream, mortgage-free in a fully furnished Scott Salisbury home with $500,000 cash. The absolute final deadline is midnight Friday. Life-changing prizes, life-changing impact. HomeLottery.com.au. Licence M14673.
Hi, Sarah Wren here, Market Lead at 5AA. 2025 will mark my first year participating in the annual Vinnie's CEO Sleep Out. On June 19, SA business and community leaders will gather at Adelaide Zoo for one night to raise funds and awareness for people who sleep rough every night. If you're a business or community leader, help break the cycle of homelessness by signing up at ceosleepout.org.au.
We know you are concerned about SA's public hospital capacity and how long it can take to see a doctor. So are we. We need enough doctors to provide the safe, quality care you deserve. There are solutions for South Australia, and it's not rocket science. Visit safermedicalstaffing.com.au and sign the petition to support our 3-point plan for enough doctors for South Australia. Authorised by Dr. David Pope, South Australian Salaried Medical Officers Association, Adelaide.
When it comes to reducing pain and rebuilding strength, Kaiser leaves nothing to chance. Our university-qualified health professionals don't just treat problem areas. They design personalised training programs using Swiss-engineered machines unique to Kaiser. These machines safely isolate the affected area, test your strength, and help rebuild your muscles for a stronger, more active and healthier life. Kaiser, building strength with precision in Norwood.
The Hyundai Keys to Summer event ends soon. Unlock offers now. Visit Hyundai.com.au.
David Penberthy and Will Goodings. 5AA Breakfast.
11 to 7. Let's talk about the weather this week. Simon Timke at the Bureau joins us. Simon, good morning to you.
Morning, Will. Morning, David.
All right, so what have we got ahead of us for Tuesday and then as we get closer to the weekend?
Yeah, look, pretty similar day to yesterday. Today we've got clear skies over the city at the moment. We did have a little bit of low cloud about the hills earlier, but that looks to have mostly cleared away. So plenty of sunshine for the day ahead. Winds generally southeasterly in direction. We'll see them freshen up a little bit with some sea breezes during the afternoon. And temperature-wise, likely to be a little bit warmer than yesterday. We got to 27.8 degrees yesterday, expecting a maximum of 31 for the city today. Currently sitting on 13.8 degrees, just a little bit above our overnight minimum, which was 13.2 degrees at 6:15. Maximum temperatures around the suburbs today, expecting 32 degrees for Elizabeth, 30 degrees for Glenelg, 29 for Noarlunga, and 28 degrees for Mount Barker. And the sunny conditions and warm conditions continuing through the rest of the week too. Mostly sunny days for Wednesday, Thursday and Friday. Maximum temperatures 32 for Wednesday and Thursday, 33 for Friday. And then we get a little bit of a drop in temperature over the weekend, but continues to be sunny. 30 and sunny for Saturday, 26 degrees and sunny for Sunday. So plenty of sunshine in the days ahead, guys.
Good on you, Simon. Thank you for that. Simon Timke at the Weather Bureau. Let's head to Sapole. Senior Constable Holly Frisbee joins us. Holly, there was a robbery in the CBD last night.
Yeah, good morning. Just before 9 o'clock last night, police were called to a convenience store on Grenfell Street after 3 females entered the store and demanded cigarettes from the store assistant. One of the suspects was armed with a knife, which would have been pretty scary for that store assistant. They stole cigarettes and were last seen walking towards King William Street. Thankfully, the staff member was not injured. Patrol searched the area and were unable to locate the group. The suspects are described to be in their late teens and early 20s, and anyone with information is asked to call Crime Stoppers on 1800 333 000.
Holly, also, there was a crash in Hackham down south early this morning.
Just after 3 o'clock this morning, police and emergency services were called to Higgins Street after a Kawasaki motorcycle was suspected of being involved in a collision. The rider, a 25-year-old man from Oaklands Park, was taken by SAS to hospital for non-life-threatening injuries. Checks on the motorcycle showed that it had been stolen from Hunfield Heights in December last year. Local police are investigating the collision and ask anyone who may have witnessed the collision or has dashcam footage that may assist to call Crime Stoppers on 1800 333 000.
Good stuff, Holly. Thanks for that. Senior Constable Holly Frisbee from Sapole.
In about 27 hours, Karen Rolton Oval will be laying host to the Sheffield Shield final. Our very own Jade Robrin is there to inspect on how everything is going in the setup. Jade, good morning to you.
Good morning. Everything is in tip-top shape. It is absolutely beautiful down here. Gorgeous morning. Workmen here are setting up for the Sheffield Shield, as you said, that kicks off tomorrow against Queensland. Lots of seating, which is great news. A lot of pop-up marquees, a lot of scaffolding going up as well to put up those stands as well. So stacks of seating if you're thinking of coming down, and of course the all-important West End tents as well. So some red cans can be drunk while we're cheering on our SA boys. But of course the South Aussies, they haven't won a Sheffield Shield final since the 95-96 summer. So we're hoping that thousands of people get down here and cheer the boys over the line. But the team will train here today to get a feel for the ground, and it is looking absolutely beautiful. Obviously there is that drop in pitch. I am not tempted to walk out because I feel like I will be tackled to the ground. But it is looking absolutely gorgeous. Now, the quandary for the SA selectors is whether to play a dual spin attack or go with the 3 specialist quicks. Now, the only change of the 14-man squad Queensland brought into Adelaide last week is the inclusion of Test opener Usman Khawaja. Now, I can't, like I said, I can't give you the pitch update, but it's quite dark out here, but they say that it is absolutely going to be spectacular. Now, finishing top, guys, I know you were talking about this earlier, does not guarantee the prize if the final is drawn. Instead, provided weather doesn't restrict the decider to less than 270 overs in total, the Shield is awarded to the team that accrues most bonus points inside the first 100 overs of their respected batting and bowling innings should the game end in a stalemate. Now, if the match ends in a draw after 5 days, as it did in 21-22 when WA were declared champions over Victoria, then the title will go to the state who secures the most bonus points after the first innings. Back to the teams. Now, Queensland are undefeated in their last 8 Sheffield Shield matches against South Australia in Adelaide. South Aussies have won only one of their last 11 Sheffield Shield matches at Karen Rolton Oval. But it is going to be a cracker. The coin toss is at 9:50am. First session kicks off at 10:35. It is expected to be a beautiful day, a top of 31 tomorrow. And as I said, as I'm looking around, there are plenty of seats. So come on down and support the South Aussies.
Well, hoping you, Jade, you're going to do a Tony Gregg and go put the key in the pitch. But it sounds like that's a no-go.
I will legit get tackled to the ground like that kid did at the Adelaide Oval, and I need my shoulders and knees intact for the weekend.
We know where you're getting hurt, Jade. There's a great report. It looks terrific. Yeah. For anyone who's watching along on their Facebook and YouTube live stream would have seen, all right, it's dark out there at the moment, but you can see they've done a hell of a lot of work to provide additional temporary seating and so forth.
It'd be a lot of fun. Be a lot of fun being there.
Be great. Karen Rolton Oval is beautiful.
Yeah, it's a stunning ground.
I love what they've done with that space there. Little white picket fence.
It hasn't been there for that long, has it?
No.
Was it in its modern incarnation?
No, with that the new...
it's only about 10 years old, I think.
Be something like that. But
maybe less.
But the structure they've put on there is really attractive. I think it's a great model for development on the parklands, frankly.
Yeah.
Because it complements it. It's accessible.
Well, that's right. I mean, it's not open now because of the new pitch, but as a general rule, you can go exercise there, walk your dog. It's got the nice trees bordering it, and it's exactly the sort of thing we should be using the parklands for. Well, I guess we always have, really. I mean, the history. That's why. But
there is a big structure there now.
Yeah,
there is the big club rooms there.
Yeah,
which some people, I'm sure, would have.
I think we've got to be careful about putting too many extra buildings on the parklands. Like, I think there's an argument for replacing all of the rundown stuff, but I think that the use of the parklands with temporary building is generally better than willy-nilly.
Well, it depends on.
This
buildings. Is where you and I differ, because I just don't think all parklands were created equal. There are beautiful parklands, and there's god ugly swamp. And for some reason,
so what do you do? Replace that with
I don't know,
like what
housing?
You'd say because mate, you can't do that.
No, I'm just saying the way sometimes it's all treated as one homogenous thing is ridiculous. Some of it is gross.
There's certainly the haves and the have-nots. The western suburbs has forever had the rawest deal when it comes to the quality of the parklands. The eastern side of town, with the walking trails and all the sculpted gardens, and I can remember picking my wife up once from one of those street corner meetings when she was still in politics, and it was on the eastern side of town where she'd sort of gone along going, oh, here we go. Windsor Central.
Oh, I thought it would have been a happy hunting ground.
No. It was more sort of your middle class, either, like,
I suppose that was the old school of politics,
NIMBYs,
wasn't it?
Yeah, and there was this woman just going absolutely berserk that there weren't enough benches to sit on the eastern side of the parklands. And I was just standing there going, come in from Henley Beach Road or Burbridge Road and see what it looks like.
Exactly right.
Crazy. But the things that people get worked up about. Why isn't the government going to do something? Okay, we need a department of park benches for the eastern suburbs of Adelaide, do we? Apparently we do.
Everyone's the star of their own movie.
That's true.
All right, we're going to take a break. 5AA News is coming up. Wrap of the big morning stories next.
Mario Maiolo Promotions and 5AA present Blowin' in the Wind. Honouring Rock and Roll Hall of Famers Bob Dylan with friends Johnny Cash, Joan Baez and the Travelling Wilburys. Come celebrate the legends who contributed to cultural change through inspired lyrics and songs of revolution with an amazing cast. The times they're a-changing, folks, so don't think twice because it's all right. Blowin' in the Wind. Her Majesty's Theatre, Friday 23rd of May. Book now at Ticketek.
Discover the joy of family connection in the 7-seat hybrid Mazda CX-80. Now yours from a great drive-away price of $59,990 for the CX-80 G40E Pure. Enjoy 3 spacious rows, hybrid efficiency, and the reassurance of driving ANCAP's safest large SUV of 2024. Visit your local dealer to test drive the Mazda CX-80 today.
Terms, conditions and exclusions apply. See Mazda.com.au for details.
5AA's Tech Talk with your host, Adelaide Tech Guy Richard Pascoe. Thanks to Harvey Norman Computers.
Harvey Norman is bringing the heat with massive savings on HP and Asus laptops. For a limited time, you can save up to 20%. Yes, 20%. Need a lightweight, reliable laptop for work or study? The HP 14S with 8GB of RAM is now just $598, saving you $130. For power users, the Asus VivoBook 15 with a huge 1TB of storage is now $888. That's over $300 off. Or step up to serious performance with the HP Intel Core Ultra 5 laptop boasting 16GB of RAM, a steal at $1,098, saving you $600. Harvey Norman delivers the best brands, the best range and the best prices guaranteed. Don't miss out on these tech bargains. Shop now. Terms and conditions apply.
Check out this great offer at a Harvey Norman store near you.
Local news and information first. This is 5AA News. Always Adelaide.
Sunny and 31 today with the 7 o'clock news. Good morning, I'm Matthew Pantelis.
Physio Extra for Locomat robotic technology treating stroke, cerebral palsy, brain and spinal cord injuries. Visit physioextra.com.
Plans for another green hydrogen plant have reportedly bit the dust. The facility at Port Pirie's Near Star smelter was to be open later in the year, but the smelter owner, FIVEAA, construction costs and limited interest from buyers for the decision not to proceed. It's the latest green hydrogen plant to be scrapped after Andrew Forrest and the Queensland Government decided not to proceed with their separate projects. The FIVEAA green hydrogen plant is also on the back burner. The money put into the insolvent steelworks instead. A 25-year-old Oaklands Park man is in hospital with non-life-threatening injuries after crashing a motorbike at Hackham at 3 a.m, but Senior Constable Holly Frisbee says they suspect the Kawasaki bike is stolen.
Checks on the motorcycle showed that it had been stolen from Hunfield Heights in December last year. Local police are investigating the collision and ask anyone who may have witnessed the collision or has dashcam footage that may assist to call Crime Stoppers.
Labor insists the nation's finances are in better shape than when it came to power, despite a small increase in Australia's gross debt. Tonight's budget papers will reveal the nation owes $940 billion this financial year, $6 billion higher than last year's forecasts. The US president has again flagged tariffs on pharmaceuticals as he opens up another front for trade tension. Any country which buys oil and gas from Venezuela will now face a 25% tariff during doing trade with the United States. Donald Trump says the cost would be on top of existing tariffs.
Something with Venezuela which is long in the making, and it's very substantial, and we'll be announcing cars very shortly, and we already announced steel, as you know, and aluminum. We'll be announcing pharmaceuticals at some point.
More than 70 people have been injured in a Russian missile attack in Ukraine as peace talks continue in Saudi Arabia. Ukrainian officials say the strike occurred in a densely populated residential area in the country's northeast. Catholics in and around the Vatican City are gathering to pray for the health of Pope Francis, the pontiff cutting back on official duties. He's continuing to recover after spending 5 weeks in hospital with a severe respiratory infection. Nine's Europe correspondent Hannah Sinclair says the Pope's condition has sparked particular concern due to his prolonged hospital stay.
Doctors have said he needs to continue resting for at least another 2 months, and they've advised him not to take any meetings with large groups just yet.
Efforts are underway to ensure all school students have access to a healthy recess and lunch. Nutritionists, experts and advocates banding together to call for a national cabinet meeting to keep canteens running stocked with quality options. Nutrition Australia's Leanne Elliston says they want subsidies to ensure all students are well fed.
Finding ways that particularly children in need are given the opportunities to access food at school in a heavily subsidised or possibly free manner.
And claims today that Greek is replacing Italian as our favourite international cuisine. According to the latest Taste the World survey, Greek food tops the list because of rising grocery prices and its simplicity. Turning to 5AA Sport.
Gliderol Garage Doors, adding strength, style and safety to your home. Gliderol.com.au.
Big yassou to Tom Wren.
Thank you, Matthew. Port Adelaide's players will hit the training track later this morning as they prepare for Thursday night's big game against Essendon at Marvel Stadium. The Power will be without Jack Lukosius, who's had surgery to repair a fractured kneecap, while Lockie Jones is out with an adductor, while Ryan Burton will also miss because of a hip issue. Meantime, it's becoming increasingly unlikely Jamara Ugle-Hagan will return to the Western Bulldogs lineup this season. The star forward was a no-show at the club's special centenary game on Friday night, instead attending the Brighton Beach Hotel. Ugle-Hagan is on a flexible training program for personal issues, but leading analyst Matthew Lloyd says he needs to make better choices.
Some people are asking, is he not allowed to be at games? More and more likely I feel like he doesn't play for the Western Bulldogs again because of things like that. If he's not attending and going to watch the Bulldogs play, I wonder if we ever see him play again for the Dogs. And then it's a risk for another club.
Meantime, emerging Cats defender Connor O'Sullivan is the round 2 Rising Star nominee after taking 7 marks in his side's loss to the Saints. To soccer, New Zealand will return to the FIFA World Cup for the first time in 16 years. That's after beating New Caledonia 3-0 in their Oceania playoff. The Socceroos, meantime, can take a big step towards qualification themselves with a win against China. They'll meet tonight. To Rugby League, Manly captain Daly Cherry Evans has made a bombshell announcement saying he won't be at the club next year. He's rejected the club's offer of a 2-year extension. A mixed day for the Australians at the Miami Tennis Open, with Jordan Thompson eliminated while Adam Walton advanced to the round of 16. And cricket great Peter Siddle insists his first-class career is over, despite still impressing in the Sheffield Shield with Victoria. And that's the 5AA Sport.
5AA Traffic.
Keys of physiotherapy, rehabilitation and strength training. Build strength with precision at Keys Norwood.
Some chock-a-block delays of the smash at Karata Park this morning. It's on Anzac Highway just near the shopping centre as you're heading into the city. Delays back to Marion Road. You need some extra time if you're heading that way this morning. Dry Creek, rail lights are playing up. Cormac Road near Churchill Road North, and look out for those works at Happy Valley this morning. Always slow. Chandler's Hill Road near Happy Valley Drive. Cameras, Bry Road, Felixstowe and Balmoral Road at Durnan Courts. Look for the RAA sign at over 400 independent RAA-approved repairers across SA. You know you can trust them because RAA do. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
5AA's forecast.
Switch and save on service and repairs. Call 1300 Automasters.
Sunny days ahead, 31 today, 32 tomorrow and Thursday, 33 on Friday, and right now 14. 5AA, always Adelaide.
In Adelaide and across South Australia, this is 5AA, always Adelaide.
The Hyundai Keys to Summer event ends soon. Unlock offers now. Visit Hyundai.com.au.
David Penberthy and Will Goodings, 5AA Breakfast.
7 after 7, good morning to you. If you're joining us for the very first time on this Tuesday morning, the 25th of March. Stay with us through to 8:30 this morning. Really looking forward to our chat that we're going to be having with a member of the rescue team who was involved in rescuing the 4 people, including just a 6-year-old boy that was stranded by floodwaters in the far north of the state. We had that wonderful chat yesterday with the local publican. Well, the equivalent of the local publican.
Mount Dare.
About 16 hours north of Adelaide.
No, it was more than that. It was 21.
Yours
because of the roads.
Yeah, mine said 15 hours 57. Yours said 16. I don't know why we didn't.
How is that possible? Well, you must use a different map app. We're using Google Maps.
I
was using the one on the phone.
I was using Google Maps,
which is not Google Maps.
But where did you do it from? I did it from Hindmarsh Square.
Yeah, I did it from Adelaide. I'll do it again. Mount Dare.
Mount Dare Hotel.
Mount Dare Hotel. Where are we?
All right, we're going to get to the bottom of this live on the air
in Witjera, SA.
Yep, mine now says 15 hours 41 minutes.
Mine says 21 hours 24 minutes.
We're going to compare routes.
Yeah, well maybe mine has taken into account the wet weather.
Well, this has a exclamation mark that says the route is restricted usage or includes private roads.
I'm heading north to Colgra, then turning right.
Bezos v. Jobs.
Finky, yeah. Finky. Mine takes me into the Northern Territory and then back down again.
Lucy gets 16. Yes, so does mine.
Yeah, okay. Maybe I'm just a more sensible driver. Maybe I'm stopping along the way. Definitely stopping at the arid lands.
In any case, it's a long way away. It's an extraordinary rescue that they that SAPOL and the SA Ambulance Service put together. So we're going to be chatting with someone who was involved in it yesterday. We're going to do that after 8:30 today. Let's jump into what's happening today, though, elsewhere. And I guess it's headlined by the federal budget that is going to be handed down today by the Treasurer, Jim Chalmers. We do know some of the big picture numbers. The debt will reach $940 billion this year. It's an enormous figure, but it had been previously forecast to hit $1 trillion, which will be part of what Labor will say is a huge success. It's the fourth federal budget. They're going to say
wouldn't you around 940 up to $1 trillion?
Oh, not in this case, you wouldn't.
So it's $60 billion short.
Not in a press release, you wouldn't.
That's right, exactly.
It'll be $117 billion better off from 24-25. Yesterday, the Prime Minister was out spruiking something that we spoke about on the program, that a deal had been done worth $2.8 billion with Queensland to ensure public schools are fully funded, which meant he'd made one of these deals now with each state government. We covered it here in South Australia late January when that one broke. But here's, we heard a little bit from the Premier a little bit earlier. Here's the Treasurer, Jim Chalmers, talking about the budget today.
Well, this is hip pocket help for households, and it recognises that people are still under pressure. We know that cost of living pressures are front of mind for most Australians, and so cost of living will be front and centre in the budget. We have to do this in the most responsible way that we can. Continuing this energy bill relief for 6 months recognises that people are still under pressure, despite the really quite encouraging progress that we've made together on inflation overall.
Hip pocket help for households.
Sounds like an election slogan,
you know,
doesn't it?
Your politicians on a roll when they get the alliteration happening.
Don't you reckon? I think the one thing the Labor government should not talk about at all is power prices, because I don't think anyone believes a thing they say about it. They've got a really good story to tell about things like cheaper medicine now. That PBS stuff, they can campaign on that.
Fantastic.
And it totally plays to Labor's strong suit.
Medicare, health.
The party that looks after public health. You know, that's the sort of stuff. The more... But if Albo's smart, he should get like one of those giant safes from Paramount Browns and lock Chris Bowen in it for the next 2 months.
Well, you know, last night I started doing some work on how much, I was trying to get to the bottom of how much we've spent over the course of the last few years on energy bill subsidies or rebates. So basically, as our Texas was saying yesterday, you're getting your own money back.
Yeah.
But the total sum of it is somewhere, by my back of the napkin maths, somewhere between $6 and $9 billion. I just wonder what kind of energy generation capacity you could have added to the grid for somewhere between $6 and $9 billion. I wonder if you could have started to address some of the underlying issues that are causing high power prices with $6 to $9 billion, as opposed to slapping a $150 rebate on everyone's bills, not means tested, by the way, every 6 months.
Well, the other thing too, we know it's about to get worse thanks to AEMO. So clearly we are an energy-rich country that is unable, a resources-rich country that's unable to have a reliable source of energy anymore, meaning it's only going to go up in cost. So you're right. The only way you can make it come down marginally is by throwing public money at it.
Well, this is
as opposed to saying, well, all right, maybe we just need to rethink the way we're going about this.
This is the case of the slow-boiled frog, because I'm guessing 3 years ago, if you went back, the government said, well, we don't have $10 billion lying around to, you know, incentivise the development of new gas power generation, or whatever it might well be. But we've spent it just in small cuts over the same period, artificially trying to dampen power prices. Like, it's ludicrous.
Yeah, it's crazy.
It's patently ludicrous. I'll tell you what else is crazy. The data that's come out, and Andrew Huff's got a story about this at the Times this morning, about the Women's and Children's Hospital sterilisation issue. This is well worth your reading. We spoke about it on the day that this story broke, where effectively a storage room that housed implements used for surgery and so forth was corrupted because of the humidity. We didn't build storage rooms at the Women's and Children's Hospital to withstand higher levels of humidity. It meant that the implements were unsafe. Well, it's come out that it's a slightly bigger issue than it was made out to be at the time. 30 children and 8 women had undergone surgery with the things in that storeroom.
Which meant to be kept at a certain temperature to stop them getting infected.
Exactly right. So those 38 people are, according to now this reporting, at higher risk of infection. At least 2 of them, one of whom has developed an infection.
Yeah, one's infected.
Had to get further treatment, including antibiotics. There was concern about medical complications. Families of patients were warned of an increased risk of infection and what signs to look out for. None of this was forthcoming at the time that we were first talking about the story. Some of the things they were worried about are serious. Complications including wound infections, septicemia, HIV and hepatitis, according to the reporting.
You know
this
what's
morning.
really annoying? Will and I actually interviewed one of the head honchos from the hospital about all of this at the time. And we had a cornsy with that interview.
No, we didn't actually.
Didn't we?
It still exists. It was just one of the vagaries of us moving studios.
Yeah. So we couldn't play it. And then we found it a day later, but we didn't play it because more stuff had come to light, and it made the interview sound completely dated because there were obvious questions in light of new information that you would have asked, which we hadn't asked because we didn't have the information. It would actually be worth listening back to that interview at some point because I reckon it's a classic example of the public servant who's going to sit there knowing heaps more about the issue, who's just going to go, well, let's just see how these two guys go because I know much more than them. So if they don't ask me the right questions, I'm not going to reveal all of the information. Because from memory, there was absolutely nothing in that interview about the sterilisation of equipment and the possibility that people were going to end up getting infected from it, although maybe the woman didn't know at the time. I doubt it.
It's extraordinary reporting and well worth your time reading in the Tizer this morning. In the United States, this is really interesting. This has developed just in the last couple of hours, or at least it's kicked along in the last couple of hours. There was some reporting over the weekend that I think will perhaps hearten or at least raise expectations that maybe some Australian industries will be spared from the wide-ranging tariffs that Donald Trump's been promoting ahead of what he's been calling Liberation Day on April the 2nd. The Wall Street Journal was reported over the weekend that behind the scenes, Trump officials are telling everyone, hey, maybe don't expect this to be as big as you guys are building it up to be, which is funny given how the president has built it up to be. There's speculation that there will be some concessions given to countries more so than Donald Trump has originally and publicly stated, and some industries will receive concessions that previously they hadn't stated, and it will be more reciprocal in nature than wide-ranging. That's the sort of language that's being used behind the scenes. Bloomberg's reported on this as well. As a result of this reporting, US stock markets today enjoyed a bit of a bounce.
How does Trump manage it domestically, though? Because over the last week, there were splashes every afternoon in the Australian. There was one about the winemakers contacting the president and saying we're sick of Australian wine, Chilean wine, etc., coming in and flooding the market, yellowtail, all that sort of stuff. Then there was one about beef, where the farmers have formally approached. How does he say to them, look, actually, in hindsight, we're not going to do anything about it?
I think he just does, and there's enough people there that say, well, he said it, so it's the right decision. Here he is talking a short time ago, and this is a snippet of a grab about Venezuela and the tariffs that they've put on the oil production there, and threats to countries, if you use their oil, we'll put tariffs on you. But in that, he was asked about April 2nd, and if you listen to the start of this, it's a little softer than what we've experienced, and it seems to lend credence to some of that Wall Street Journal reporting.
Well, I may give a lot of countries breaks, but it's reciprocal, but we might be even nicer than that. You know, we've been very nice to a lot of countries for a long time, but I call it Liberation Day. April 2nd is Liberation Day. But today, as you know, we did something with respect to Venezuela. You heard about that, and that will be quite important. We'll be announcing some additional tariffs over the next few days, having to do with automobiles, cars, and having also to do a little bit with lumber down the road, lumber and chips. We're going to get all those chip companies coming back. They're already coming back without even doing it. So it's been very good. But we'll be announcing some others.
But the language at the start was we might even be nicer. We may give more countries concessions. It's not what he was saying a week ago. So it has raised an expectation that maybe it won't be as brutal as advertised.
Do you know we should try to talk to at some point? Former Premier Stephen Marshall. Because he now lives in New York City.
Great idea.
As the head of the Australian-American Friendship Association. What a time to be doing that job.
Stephen Marshall.
Yeah. If anyone can do it, he can.
World's
nicest bloke.
Oh, he'd be loving it. All right, let's head out on the road and check in again with Jade Robran. Morning again, Jade.
Good morning, guys, and a big thanks to our listeners who have called in about an accident out the front of Kmart in Karolta Park, just at Karolta Park Village here. I can report that a Ford Ranger has had a bingle with a smaller four-wheel drive bubble-type car, those smaller cars. So it looks like they've come to blows on the corner of Grasmere Street and also Anzac Highway. The good news is that both drivers and passengers are okay, but traffic is a bit of a mess. The 3 lanes are now down to just 2. The tow trucks have just arrived and will be taking both cars away in a few moments' time. Police are on the scene. The fireys have just left. They've thrown that sand that soaks up any oil residue or petrol on the road, but it is going to be cleared hopefully within the next 10 to 15 minutes. Traffic operations are here on the scene, making sure that traffic merges into those 2 lanes. But good news is that traffic is flowing. As I said, in the next 10 to 15 minutes, the police should have the area cleared, but it is slow going, and traffic, as I look down towards the beach side, it is banked up down to Marion Road, but just repeating that in the next 10 to 15 minutes it will be cleared. If you are heading into the area, maybe just take an alternative route, but it is slowly flowing.
Good stuff. Thank you for that, Jade. It doesn't look too congested. The traffic is coming through, so yeah, always great having that vision from Jade.
Yeah, well worth your time jumping
She's a
on the Facebook
one-woman
and
media
YouTube.
entity, isn't she?
Oh, yeah, she films it, uploads it, does a live report on it.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, let's check traffic. Corporate Clean Property Services, they're referred for a reason. After all, they don't cut corners, they clean them.
Chock-a-block delays this morning with a smash at Karolta Park. It's on Anzac Highway near the shopping centre heading into the city. Delays back to Marion Road. Give yourself some extra time if you've got to head that way this morning. We're slow for works in Hallicove, Lonsdale Road near Perry Bar Road. Speeds at 40 in the Parklands for works, Green Hill Road near Peacock Road, and super busy South Road at Karolta Park too. Got a camera to look out for, Ilford Street at Vale Park. Would you be impatient with a kid learning how to play footy? If you wouldn't do it on your else, why do it on the road? Don't let a car change who you are. Safer driving starts with you. Brought to you by the Australian Government. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
5AA Mornings with Graham Goodings.
Working from home looms as a key issue in the federal election. If working from home wins the day, and eventually very few of us actually go into the office, employers will see a way to increase their profits. If you're not needed in the office and can do everything from your home, why can't your job be outsourced to India or the Philippines?
Graham Goodings.
Someone would be happy to do your job for half of what you earn.
Weekday mornings from 9 on 5AA. Always Adelaide.
Are you in the draw? Just 3 days to go for the chance to live mortgage-free in Somerton Park. Only 3 days to buy your tickets in the Hospital Research Foundation Home Lottery. Live the dream, mortgage-free in a fully furnished Scott Salisbury home with $500,000 cash. The absolute final deadline is midnight Friday. Life-changing prizes, life-changing impact. HomeLottery.com.au. License M14673.
Let's see what's in the swear jar at Buy Urban Bathrooms and Kitchens. Here's one from Jasmine, the operations manager at Buy Urban and the driving force behind the success of all renovation projects. Jasmine swears to ensure all the trades arrive on time every time to ensure a seamless transition to your stunning Buy Urban bathroom. For a team that swears to deliver on quality and service, see Buy Urban Bathrooms and Kitchens, Adelaide's home renovation experts.
For those whose pool is the main feature of their yard, Walco offer a special mesh cover to keep debris and leaves out while making your pool area look stunning all through winter. Join the great cover-up and ask Walco about their stylish new mesh pool covers. Walco.com.au.
The Elevate event is on now at Lexus of Adelaide. Receive a complimentary upgrade to our Encore Elevate Luxury Benefits program when you purchase any 2024 plate, new or demonstrator Lexus. With exclusive benefits like airport lounge access and curated events, Encore Elevate delivers an even more luxurious ownership experience. The Lexus of Adelaide Elevate event ends March 31. LVD 2009.
If I say the word instant, are you thinking coffee or scratchies? If gambling's never far from your thoughts, or you're often looking forward to your next bet, you could be showing the early signs of gambling harm. But if you spot the harm, you can stop the harm. Visit gamblingharmsupport.sa.gov.au. A message from the Government of South Australia.
Rosanna Mangiarelli here from 7 News. Join me and Will Goodings for Adelaide's leading news hour, 7 News, tonight at 6 o'clock.
The Hyundai Keys to Summer event ends soon. Unlock offers now. Visit Hyundai.com.au.
David Penberthy and Will Goodings, 5AA Breakfast.
24 after 7, Phil Curry in the nation's capital shortly. If anyone's got the inside running of what's happening today in the federal budget, it'll be Phil. So if you're intrigued, stick around and we'll listen to Phil. Then we've got a trial by jury coming up. And a little bit later, we're going to go inside the rescue of that family that came to grief in the far northern part of South Australia due to a combination of remoteness and floodwaters. How was it affected? How did they come to find the people? How did it all come together? We'll speak to one of the rescuers after 8:30 today.
I thought it was interesting, not being a religious person, but always interested to hear what helps people get through a crisis. And that woman, the Indigenous lady who was the mum trapped in the car or lost in the car, the Holden Captiva, she seemed quite becalmed, and she said, I just been out here knowing that God will sort this out. Be nice to have that level of reassurance, wouldn't it?
Well, for all of human history, faith's been a big thing.
Yeah, whatever gets you through the day, I guess.
All right. Rowie and Timmy G last night on the sports show weren't quite talking about as big picture questions. They were looking at the case of Harley Reid,
theology.
The former number one pick from West Coast, who's been under the microscope for a pretty disappointing weekend. He gave away 7 free kicks. He was frustrated.
Your mate Kane called him fat.
Kane loves talking about the fitness levels of AFL players.
That's because he looks like an Ethiopian distance runner these days.
He's
going to change his name to Kane Gabra Selassie, the way he's going.
The other thing Harley Reid did was flip the bird to a fan.
Twice.
Yeah, in frustration. And that's drawn the ire of the AFL. I've asked for a please explain. Rowie wasn't having it last night.
How old is he? 19. In his second year.
Second year of footy.
Let's enjoy the fact that this bloke isn't the finished product, and let's enjoy the ride of him being the finished product, and let's not rip him. And Jimmy Bartell and James Hird, well done. Love what they said.
He's 19, and we constantly ask for an old head on young shoulders. Give us a spell. He's just working out AFL football. He's shown he's got the ability and talent. He's shown he can be a match winner. But you know what happens with most 19-year-olds? You go like that. It's difficult. You're playing against the reigning premier.
I loathe football media critics that pot teenagers that are far from their finished product. And they need to sometimes look at what they were like at 19.
Yeah.
I was an unregistered dog at 19. I was a loser.
Are you registered yet?
No.
I agree with Rowie.
Harley Reid suffers from the fact that he's the only newsworthy footballer in the West Coast at the moment.
And Western Australia is the most demented part of Australia. It's like Australia, only no one ever goes there. Like, the local media is just utterly obsessed with that kid. He was the back page splash, I think, something like 30 times.
Yeah, it was outrageous.
Oh, more. Like, and, what did they win? 2 games last year?
He's Tony Modder over there right now.
Yeah.
That's the closest South Australian equivalent I can think of.
In a side that
1994, 1993. Yeah, in a side that never wins.
It's crazy, isn't it?
Yeah.
But this is the thing, it's like Ginnivan or Rochelle as well. Last year, people say, oh, yeah, put your head in. So what do you want? You want to go and watch teams filled with, stat accumulating robots who never say or do anything.
You know what?
Interesting.
I think we can say this for Australians. It's part of, this is the Australian, other countries don't react to bombastic young showmen like we do.
Well, look at soccer. Soccer is just festooned with them.
Because they celebrated in other countries.
I mean, imagine in Australia if you acted like Cristiano Ronaldo and brought out your own fragrance. You'd probably get deported.
You would.
Well, you think about some of the great, genuine psychos of football, the real football, like Eric Cantona. Karate kicked some half-wit in the crowd who was giving him lip, and then rocks up at the press conference quoting Baudelaire. How awesome is Eric Cantona?
Yeah, we'd round the edges of him by the age of 15. He'd be a robot in Australia.
I love Eric Cantona.
It's part tall poppy syndrome. It's part about not getting ahead of yourself. But when in sport, which is entertainment, I think it's part of
Yeah.
our psyche that kills an element of the entertainment.
Well, maybe too. We are not exactly unencumbered with football opinion programs.
True.
And to quote Eric Cantona, as the fish follows the trawler. That's what we're looking at here.
Yeah, I think Eric Cantona might have nailed it. 5AA News is coming up. Coming up next, Phil Curry, the nation's capital, will talk about the budget. You might hear more from footballing greats of yesteryear.
Are you looking for financial guidance? Are you dealing with a change in your circumstances? Looking to grow your wealth or managing an inheritance? Are you RCR ready? RCR Financial is your qualified and curious team of professionals, providing strategies for dealing with your situation now and helping you to create a pathway towards the best outcome. RCR Financial will show you the way. Are you ready to take the next step? Search for RCR Financial today or see us on the parade, Norwood.
If you can't stop using your mobile phone illegally, drink or drug driving, driving without a seatbelt, speeding or driving dangerously, South Australia Police will stop you. With more patrols, more road safety cameras and more driver testing, stop breaking the rules before we stop you. Think road safety. A message from the Government of South Australia.
This is 5AA News. Always Adelaide.
Sunny and 31 today with the 7:30 news. I'm Matthew Pantelis.
Physio Extra offers Locomat and Armio robotic technology services at their Marion and Eastwood clinics. physioextra.com.
While the search for the missing Beaumont children several weeks ago failed to find any new clues, hopes are high for a planned search this weekend. For missing girls Kirsty Gordon and Joanne Ratcliffe, the pair were abducted from the Adelaide Oval in 1973. Channel 9 reporting 2 sites between Jamestown and Orroroo will be examined, both previously checked by police, but those behind the privately funded search say it'll be more extensive this time around, those planning the search meeting with police on Friday. The opposition maintains the Albanese government hasn't done enough to rein in spending. Gross debt will come in at $940 billion this financial year, a $6 billion increase on last year's budget forecast. Labor has recently announced new spending measures on healthcare and energy rebates. Shadow Finance Minister Jane Hume telling Today these measures are important, but there are also been wasteful spending.
That includes a bloated public service, which is blown out by 20% and costing $11 billion more a year that hasn't been accounted for. Most importantly, we'll rein in runaway cost of living by restoring our standard of living.
Financial analysts say federal energy bill rebates don't offer long-term solutions to higher power prices. Power bill rebates will be extended until the end of this year, but the Grattan Institute says subsidising the cost of installing solar, induction cooktops and home batteries would be more effectively bring down energy bills. Police are investigating a robbery in the city last night. Senior Constable Holly Frisbee says 3 females entered a convenience store on Grenfell Street demanding cigarettes.
One of the suspects was armed with a knife, which would have been pretty scary for that store assistant. They stole cigarettes and were last seen walking towards King William Street. Thankfully, the staff member was not injured. Patrols searched the area and were unable to locate the group. The suspects are described to be in their late teens and early 20s.
Scientists at the CSIRO have been sent an administration survey by the Trump administration. It demands they answer questions on diversity, gender ideology and whether they're studying climate justice. 2 researchers working on American-funded projects have received the 36-point survey, joining those at 7 Australian universities. Hundreds of people have been arrested in the latest round of protests in Turkey. Europe correspondent Hannah Sinclair with more.
The huge protest began when Istanbul's Mayor Ekrem İmamoğlu, an opponent of Turkey's President Erdogan, was arrested on corruption charges. Hundreds of thousands of people defying a ban on gathering, taking to Istanbul's streets and elsewhere across the country to protest. The Turkish government says 1,133 people have been arrested and more than 100 police officers injured. The Istanbul mayor has been selected by the main opposition party as a candidate for Turkey's 2028 presidential election. He says the charges against him are politically motivated and a stain on democracy. President Erdogan says the EU cannot exist without Turkey and condemned the demonstrations.
Experts warning measles outbreaks in the United States and Southeast Asia could bring cases to Australia. 300 cases have been reported in the US, while thousands of others have been reported in India, Vietnam and Indonesia. Australia eliminated local transmission of the disease back in 2014. Turning to 5AA Sport.
Colours, custom design, any house, any style. Gliderol Garage Doors. Gliderol.com.au.
And with sport, Tom Wren, good morning.
Thank you, Matty. Yeah, good morning to you. We'll start with football. Adelaide defender Wayne Miller has praised the form of captain Jordan Dawson. Now, the Crows skipper's received maximum votes from the coaches in both the club's wins this season, and Miller has told Rowie and Timmy G he has been leading from the front.
He's super important for us, and he's definitely started the year off to how he would have definitely wanted to start the year. So, and there's no doubt I'm sure he can continue with that form.
Well, the Socceroos are seeking to continue their World Cup momentum when they take on China tonight. A win would ensure Australia's automatic qualification for next year's World Cup. Australian Jordan Thompson has been knocked out of the Miami Tennis Open by top seed Alexander Zverev in straight sets. Zverev was taken to length by Thompson in the first set, 7-5. The German says keeping focus was key in the second.
Yeah, overpower him. When you let him play, he has so much variety, so many things that he can do. So you kind of have to overpower him. That's the only way forward.
Fellow Aussie Adam Walton took care of Coleman Wong in 3 sets to progress to the round of 16. To cricket, Peter Siddle insists his first-class career is over despite solid form in the Sheffield Shield. The 40-year-old, who of course played with the Adelaide Strikers, took the final wicket as Victoria beat Western Australia in its last game of the season.
I've definitely had enough. Yeah, still love the bowling. I'd love to continue doing that, and the body's fine and I could stay up and continue, but those hours in the field, that's ran its course. I've had enough time standing out there and wondering what I'm doing, still playing. So, sadly, it's all done, but it couldn't have finished any better.
Wonderful career. Meantime, both captains will talk today ahead of tomorrow's Sheffield Shield final. That's going to, of course, be played between South Australia and Queensland. And that's the 5AA Sport.
Now 5AA Traffic.
Keyser Physiotherapy, Rehabilitation and Strength Training. Build strength with precision at Keyser Norwood.
We are chock-a-block with delays on Anzac Highway at the moment. This is at Karata Park following a crash on Anzac Highway just near the shopping centre there. It's city-bound but got big delays back to Marion Road. Leave early if you've got to head that way this morning. Slow for works at Glenelg East, Brighton Road near Dunbar Terrace. Getting busy, Main North Road at Enfield. Quite slow. Porter Expressway at Port Adelaide with the Camera Whites Road at Paralawi. Discover outdoor living dreams you can touch at Stratco. For a little bit of time, get 20% off Stratco garages. However you bring the dream, Stratco will bring the how-to. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
5AA's forecast.
Switch and save on service and repairs. Call 1300 Automasters.
Sunny days for Adelaide, 31 today, 32 tomorrow and Thursday, 33 on Friday, and right now 13. 5AA, always Adelaide.
Plant the seed of your legacy. Centennial Park's new Living Legacy Forever Flowers offers a heartfelt and sustainable way to commemorate your loved one. For the first time in South Australia, Living Legacy's groundbreaking science allows your loved one's ashes to positively impact the environment, creating a beautiful, lasting tribute where friends and family can gather and reflect whilst contributing to the beautiful botanical environment. To learn more about Living Legacy Forever Flowers, visit centennialpark.org.
When it comes to real estate, Photobase Group does it all. Marketing, signage, print, photography, videography and design. And now they're adding to their award-winning team. Photobase Group are currently on the hunt for casual real estate sign installers available 3 to 5 days a week from 7 a.m. till 5 p.m. A vehicle is provided along with training and all the tools and equipment needed to ensure you enjoy the work and deliver perfect outcomes for their valued clients. Get in contact today by calling 8229 9000.
Babe, when's the next exit? The light just came on.
While you focus on making it to the next servo, we'll handle your car battery. Battery World has the largest range of quality car batteries, so you can leave it to the local battery experts to keep you moving. Book your free car battery test. Visit us or call 13 17 60 today. Battery World, one less thing to worry about.
5AA Breakfast is streaming live right now. To watch, simply head to 5AA on Facebook or YouTube. The Hyundai Keys to Summer event ends soon. Unlock offers now. Visit Hyundai.com.au.
David Penberthy and Will Goodings. 5AA Breakfast.
22 to 8, we got $100 worth of Samtas seafood we're giving away before 8 o'clock this morning for someone who's involved in the jury. It's not too far away. Doesn't matter what your verdict is, someone will randomly be selected and win that $100 worth of Samtas seafood. Then, after 8:30 today, David Kosh will be on the program, and also we're going to take you inside the rescue of those that family that was stranded in the far, far north part of South Australia.
It's a great prize. $100 goes a very long way at Samtas.
It goes a hell of a long way.
4 kilos for $60 deal, unchanged for years.
They do a wonderful job. Great place to get into there on Richmond Road. All right, let's head to Canberra. Phil Curry from the Australian Financial Review joins us on Federal Budget Day. Phil, this won't surprise you. David didn't sleep tonight in anticipation of the budget today. He's just so champing at the bit. He's pumped.
I had a long sleep.
So, federal budget-wise, Phil, for you now, this would definitely be at least number 30, wouldn't it?
Around that. Not quite, but getting there, yeah.
You came over for a few when you were still Adelaide-based back in the day with Greg Kelton and everyone, didn't you?
Yeah, I didn't contribute much.
Contributed more than I did.
What
about that night you threw a bread roll at Kerry O'Brien?
I know. I'll put that's going to be in my memoir. You didn't back me up either. You just laughed.
It was pretty funny, pretty hard not to.
Budget, another one. But I guess the difference with this one is a few weeks ago the government didn't want to hand this one down, and because they were going to go to an election on April 12th, so this is the one they've had to sort of pull out of the bin and dust it off and tart it up a bit and pretend it's all a cunning plan. They've pretty much announced everything, Dave. Like most of the big stuff, there'll be, because they thought they'd go into the election early. They'll remember all the Medicare announcements and so forth. And last week some more on the PBS, and then there was power bills over the weekend. So there'll be a couple of things tonight, but I think the bulk of what's left I'll actually say for the election campaign, which probably is not going to get called at least until this weekend, and heaven forbid maybe another week after that. So they're sort of trying to stretch out what's left. So we're not anticipating a lot tonight. I think the thing to look forward to, not look forward to, but to look out for tonight is just this. I don't want to be rude, but it is a real exercise in delusion in terms of the state of the budget. The Treasurer is running around this morning and last night saying the state of the books is going to be a lot better than they were in 2022 when Labor came into government. Well, that's not hard because we were coming out of COVID then. That's a bit like saying Carlton played better last week than they did against Richmond the week before. It's a pretty low starting point, right? But what they won't tell us, or what they don't want to highlight, is that the budget's actually in a lot, and I mean a lot worse shape than it was just a year ago, right? So last year we had a surplus of 16 billion. Now we're looking at a deficit of 26, and then 40 plus next year. So it's plunging back into deficit really hard. The debt, as a proportion of the size of the economy, again, is smaller than it was during COVID, but it's bigger than it was last year. So they're sort of trying to use this anchor point of 2022 and just ignore the last couple of years. And I think most people are missing that, and the government, they're just relying on the fact that voters don't seem to care as much about debt and deficit as they once used to. They just want to know what's going to be in their pocket.
The other thing that they compare to the COVID era too, Phil, is inflation. And when Albert did that sort of dry run at the Norwood International School about 4 months ago, which was his sort of dummy campaign launch in a way, after he'd had that 2 weeks of distractions around buying the house and all the Qantas upgrades and that week from hell. But he kept saying that day, and other people who spoke, including Penny Wong and Richard Marles, they kept talking about when this government came to power, inflation had was it a 6 or an 8?
It was 7, yeah.
7,
yeah.
Six
in front of it, yeah.
Do you think that they're going to be able to make any political capital at all out of saying that inflation's down? Because do you think the voters will feel like it's down?
Well, I mean, they're entitled to, because it is down. It's down to, well, it depends who you believe. It's around, either a 2 in front of it, but that's the artificially deflated number, because they've rolled out $7 billion in power bill discounts in the last couple of years. That's the artificial effect of pushing inflation down. But the real number's sort of low threes, so whether it's a 2 in front of it or a low 3, it is better, but you're right, and the government does acknowledge this, that just because inflation's down, prices haven't come down. Right? It's still like $5.50 for a tub of marge at the supermarket. They put it on special at $4. It used to be on special for $2. That's the measure I use, and the reason is, Dave, mainly because energy prices are still so high, right? So inflation has come down, but energy is just feeding into everything, like food production, transport, whatever, and so inflation is down, but nothing else seems to be following it, and this is a problem, and the government is mindful of that. I think Chalmers mentioned this yesterday, and that's why they're still sort of justifying giving more cost of living relief.
Do you think Dutton's starting to look a little bit not spooked, but a little bit unnerved by the growing consensus that they don't, or that they haven't done enough hard policy work and provided enough of an alternative? I noted that he was saying, watch this space when I do my budget reply Thursday night. There's going to be a pretty big announcement in there. Like, the fact that he's sort of talking almost defensively about it is not a good look for them on the cusp of an election.
No, they've definitely lost momentum. They've definitely stalled, and it's showing up in the public and the private polling for the last few weeks now, and he hasn't had a good few weeks. I think when the PM pulled the pin on the April 12 election and sort of put us into this holding pattern for 3 weeks, the Libs were sort of a bit blindsided by that. They didn't really have a strategy because they were going to start rolling out all these announcements. We would normally be in the third week of the campaign now. Tomorrow would be the halfway mark, and they would have started rolling out stuff pretty heavily in the first week or so. And so they've sort of just been spinning their wheels for a few weeks, and it's looked like that. I don't know why they didn't put stuff out just to try and fill the gap. Dutton's got himself on the sticky paper on things like work from home, and this sort of thought bubble about a referendum on deporting dual citizens who commit violent crimes and stuff like that.
Was that a Joe Bjelke-Petersonism there, Phil? The sticky paper? I remember when he said that famous interview with Jan Event.
Yeah, I took it off Josh Frydenberg. He used to use it. I stole it from him. But everything in this joint's stolen. Policies, gags. Yeah, so look, as Albanese, his philosophy's always been to kick with the wind in the last quarter, and you can see them sort of starting to do that. Whereas, someone said to me yesterday, Dutton's still in the sheds, and they just haven't done a lot of work. I think one of the problems was, the country was pretty cranky, still is, but it was really cranky towards the end of last year. And Dutton, in a speech, gave this sort of thing that he was sort of relying on a repeat of 1996, where people were just fed up with the government and wanted someone in to come and fix up the mess, like the back on track slogan that he uses. But I think as sort of annoyed as people are with the government in Albanese, I don't think they've sort of made the transition as much to the Liberals as they would have liked. They haven't closed the deal, and maybe people aren't as sort of angry at this government as they were towards, say, the Keating government, which had been around for four terms. So it's delicately poised, but he as you said, I think this week the thing everyone's watching this week is actually Thursday night, Dutton's address and reply, because he's really got to kickstart things there. I mean, they've left it probably too late as it is, but he's got a live televised address at 7:30 on Thursday night, and he really needs to say something and get people to notice.
Good stuff, Phil. Thanks for that, mate.
All right, guys. See you.
Thank you, Phil Curry there from the Financial Review. Hey, thanks also to Con, our good mate Con, Soccer Nut, who sent in this very helpful graphic that I'm going to read out here for those of you who are much more interested in how the Socceroos are going to go than how Jim Chalmers is going to go. It's not on free to air. You can watch it if you download something called the Paramount app. But equally, kudos to these pubs: the Arkabar Hotel, the Crown Inn in Kingston, the Para Hills Community Club, and the Salisbury North Football Club, all showing the Socceroos v China match at 9:30 on the big screen.
Well, a bit like Jim Chalmers, all that stands between the Socceroos and future success is China. We're going to check traffic thanks to Corporate Clean Property Services. They're referred for a reason. After all, they don't cut corners, they clean them.
Thanks, Will. Seeing some chock-a-block delays today on Anzac Highway at Karata Park due to a smash just in front of the shopping centre. They're at Citybound with delays back to Marion Road. Leave early if you've got to go that way this morning. We are slow for works at Gilman, Eastern Parade near Francis Street. Quite busy at Highgate, Cross Road near Hampstead Avenue for works, with cameras Grand Boulevard, Seaford Rise, and Aldinga Beach Road at Aldinga Beach. Ready to see where the Disney magic first began? Disney's classic Snow White comes to life like never before in the latest live-action musical reimagining. Disney's Snow White in cinemas now. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
If you need to fix your pipes, call Precise. Call Precise. If your toilet's blocking up, call Precise. Call Precise. If your lights aren't turning on, or your hot water is gone, or a plumber or an electrician, call Precise. Precise.
Precise Plumbing and Electrical. Call 1300 700 200. That's 1300 700 200. For fixed price services, call Precise.
For a plumber or an electrician, call Precise. Call Precise.
We know you are concerned about SA's public hospital capacity and how long it can take to see a doctor. So are we. We need enough doctors to provide the safe, quality care you deserve. There are solutions for South Australia and it's not rocket science. Visit safermedicalstaffing.com.au and sign the petition to support our 3-point plan for enough doctors for South Australia. Authorised by Dr David Pope, South Australian Salaried Medical Officers Association, Adelaide.
Hi, Brett Ebbett here for Mawson Lakes Mazda. We've been doing deals on a huge range of 2024 plate Mazdas, and we've just received truckloads more of them, all priced to clear. These drive-away deals on new Mazdas include free 12 months rego, free stamp duty, and accessory packs worth $500. Yep, absolutely free. All exclusive to Mawson Lakes Mazda. No gimmicks, just great deals. Mawson Lakes Mazda, Salisbury Highway, T's and C's apply.
5AA's Tech Talk with your host, Adelaide Tech Guy Richard Pascoe. Thanks to Harvey Norman Computers.
Harvey Norman is bringing the heat with massive savings on HP and Asus laptops. For a limited time, you can save up to 20%. Yes, 20%. Need a lightweight, reliable laptop for work or study? The HP 14S with 8GB of RAM is now just $598, saving you $130. For power users, the Asus VivoBook 15 with a huge 1TB of storage is now $888. That's over $300 off. Or step up to serious performance with the HP Intel Core Ultra 5 laptop boasting 16GB of RAM, a steal at $1,098, saving you $600. Harvey Norman delivers the best brands, the best range, and the best prices guaranteed. Don't miss out on these tech bargains. Shop now. Terms and conditions apply.
Check out this great offer at a Harvey Norman store near you. The Hyundai Keys to Summer event ends soon. Unlock offers now. Visit Hyundai.com.au.
David Penberthy and Will Goodings, 5AA Breakfast.
10 to 8, we got $100 worth of Samtas seafood to give away. We love Samtas. $100 goes a long, long way. Premium quality seafood that'll feed you for a number of meals that you're going to absolutely love getting in there on Richmond Road. We have a jury to convene. Someone who appears on the jury will win that prize. All you need to do is call in on 8223 0000.
In the criminal justice system, all defendants are innocent until proven guilty, either by confession, plea bargain, or trial by jury. This is one of those trials.
The subject of the jury trial this morning is the brand new Disney film that is the new version of their oldest film, in fact. Nearly 90 years ago, the original Snow White came out, and the new one has come out in the past week.
This was my father's kingdom, a place of fairness. But the Queen changed everything. Take him away! Your Majesty.
What did you say?
The people need some kindness.
You know, I really don't remember you being this opinionated.
Magic mirror on the wall. Who is the fairest of them all?
Famed is thy beauty, Majesty. But the lovely maiden I now behold.
So the film cost some $350 million to make. It took in around $100 million on its first weekend, which is considered an absolute disaster. And part of the reason is because the film's been criticised for being too woke. Snow White isn't white. There are no.
She's Latina.
That's right. There are no dwarves. The Rachel Zegler, the actress who plays Snow White, has been quite forthright with her political views on things like Free Palestine, on Donald Trump and so forth. And it's created this environment where there's a huge swathe of the population that has no interest in going to see it.
Because it's been caught up in all the culture war stuff.
Correct.
The thing with the dwarf element, and clearly the dwarves are a significant part of the Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs story, but there's been like a big brouhaha in the shorter stature community, which has involved that guy Wee Man, who was in the Jackass films, who is a Ridgy-Dig dictionary definition dwarf, saying, well, where are the dwarves? If the movie's called Snow White and the Seven Dwarves, let's get some actual proper dwarves in it.
No one forced you to remake that one. There was no gun to Disney's head to go, and then they thought, well, gee, how are we going to do it? Like, they chose to remake it. In any case,
fair enough.
For the jury this morning, we're asking you, Snow Right or Snow Wrong? Snow Right or Snow Wrong? It's been a flop. You're going to go see it? Let us know. 8223 $100 worth of Samtas seafood is on the line. Juror number 1, Snow Right or Snow Wrong?
Snow Right.
Have you seen it, Juror?
Sorry?
Have you seen it yet, or have you seen the original?
No, I haven't. I've never been to a movie in my life.
Well, thanks.
You're perfectly qualified to enter this competition.
Thanks for your thoughts then, juror number 1. The powerful lure of the Samtas seafood. Juror number 2.
Some people would do anything for fish.
Snow Right or Snow Wrong?
Snow Wrong.
Snow Wrong.
Snow Wrong. Okay, thank you, juror number 2. No further explanation required. Juror number 3, what say you?
Not having seen it, I'm going to say Snow Wrong, but I feel sorry for the kids of nowadays. They don't get the excitement out of movies that we used to. If they really wanted to update it, they could have computer graphicked the original.
Yeah, just taken, which they've done before, I think, with Disney IP. Thank you, juror number 3. Juror number 4, good morning.
Morning, guys. Definitely Snow Wrong. I've been watching the trailers and the backlash on YouTube for all the critics, and I found that more exciting and more interesting to watch with what they've been going on about. But I've noticed on IMDb it's like a 2 point something, and I think they cost them over 200 million to make. I think it's only made 40 million in the first weekend. So exciting popcorn moment just to keep watching that more.
Yeah, thank you, juror number 4. Juror number 5, good morning.
Good morning. Oh, for those who thought they had the populist vote, they've got Snow Idea. So Snow Wrong.
Snow. Thank you, juror number 5. And juror number 6, good morning.
Yeah, good morning. Yeah, Snow White Wrong. What a waste of money. Dreadful.
Thank you, juror number 6.
I don't see how they managed to spend that much money making that film. What were they paying people for being in it?
Yeah, it's a staggering amount of money. Is it $350 million?
What was the one that the sort of benchmark in overblown expensive cinema that tanked is still Waterworld, isn't it?
Oh,
the Kevin
Costner's Waterworld.
Yeah,
I'm not sure if anything. I don't know how you quantify, comparing flops, but that was certainly the most famous flop of the 90s.
Wasn't The Abyss a flop as well and cost a stack of money?
I quite enjoyed. I quite enjoyed The Abyss.
Yeah, I didn't mind The Abyss.
Yeah, I got no problem with The Abyss. I thought it was a good film. Who wins the $100 worth of Samtas seafood?
Let's give it to juror number 4.
Juror number 4, you've got $100 worth of fish coming your way. What was the?
Can we send a coffee cup to juror number 1 though? I just love the audacity of the man. Never seen a movie in his life.
Sometimes
first caller through.
I mean, he didn't need to declare that. He could have simply said whatever he said.
Yeah, it's rubbish.
And moved on.
That's right.
But he felt the need to fess up. So that is worth a FIVEAA breakfast mug, isn't it?
Yeah.
What's the competition? You want a movie review? I've never been to a movie, so here's mine.
What we should give him is some Wallace Cinema passes.
Now you're talking.
So he can break the habit of a lifetime.
Lucy will
make
organise that.
a lot more sense.
Let's get a Wallace Cinema pass. Wallace will be happy.
Double pass.
And
he can see his first movie ever.
And we don't know what his identity is because he's a juror that's remained totally anonymous, of course. But if you'd like to review the first movie he ever sees,
the whole theatrical experience,
yeah, just all movies,
Jaffas, Choc Ices,
popcorn,
yeah, wow.
Thank you, that was tremendous. I think it was basically 5-1, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was a total thumping of Snow White.
All right, we're going to take a break. 5AA News is coming up in a moment. Stick around for a very intriguing breaking at 8. And then, if you're wondering, if you're intrigued by the federal budget tonight, but it's a lot of numbers and it's sort of impenetrable, we've set David Koch a task. Make the budget make sense. What do you look for? What's the important thing to listen out to? What's the spin you need to disregard? How do you watch it like someone who spent their life watching money markets? like someone who does this for their living, like Koshy's done his whole life. That's after 8:30. And then Inspector Josh Hines from the Sapole Far North Local Service Area. I bet he's got some stories to tell. One of them is about the rescue of this family that was stranded. They'd abandoned their car, which Sapole says is a bad move at all times, and in the far north of the state. He was involved in that rescue, so we'll talk about how that came about as well. Stick around. Plenty to come on 5AA Breakfast.
Simplicity Funerals make funeral planning the way it should be. Simple. With our easy and straightforward packages, it has never been simpler to organise a respectful funeral. Visit simplicityfunerals.com.au or call us 24/7 to get started today.
Rochelle Charles was murdered and her killer has never been caught. Join me, Ashley Hansen, cold case specialist Damien Loon and Rochelle's sister Christy for Dear Rochelle, a new true crime series. Visit dearrochelle.com.au.
Here at 5AA, we're all about supporting local. Check out Cirque Calibante's African Cirque at Gluttony, a spectacular international circus inspired by daily life in Guinea. Book tickets now at gluttony.net.au.
Deliver more with Toyota, the world's #1 forklift brand. Choose from a great range including pallet jacks, walkie stackers and reach forklifts, right up to their leading Toyota counterbalance forklifts. Legendary reliability and safety with cleaner, greener electric options. Toyota can tailor the right forklift solution for you. It's all part of the Toyota Forklift Advantage. For more, visit toyotamaterialhandling.com.au.
Toyota forklift.
With Bridgestone Tech Check, our technicians send you a 60-second video inspection that shows you what needs repairing now and what can wait, so you can go with confidence. Bridgestone Select Tyre and Auto.
Mario Maiolo Promotions and 5AA present Blowin' in the Wind, honouring Rock and Roll Hall of Famers Bob Dylan with friends Johnny Cash, Joan Baez and the Travelling Wilburys. Come celebrate the legends who contributed to cultural change through inspired lyrics and songs of revolution with an amazing cast. The times they're a-changing, folks, so don't think twice because it's all right. Blowin' in the Wind, Her Majesty's Theatre, Friday 23rd of May. Book now at Ticketek.
5AA Breakfast is streaming live right now. To watch, simply head to 5AA on Facebook or YouTube.
Up to the minute news for South Australia. This is 5AA News. Always Adelaide.
Sunny and 31 for Adelaide today with the 8 o'clock news. Good morning, I'm Matthew Pantelis.
Physio Extra for Locomat robotic technology treating stroke, cerebral palsy, brain and spinal cord injuries. Visit physioextra.com.
A green hydrogen plant planned for Port Pirie is the latest such project to be axed. The Australian reporting the plant would have powered the Near-Star lead smelter, but construction costs and low investor interest has scuttled the project. It's the latest green hydrogen plant to be cancelled. Climate change advocate Andrew Forrest cancelling a project over costs. And the Queensland government also scrapping a $1 billion project in the state just last month. Tonight's federal budget will show Australia owes slightly more money than previously anticipated. Treasurer Jim Chalmers' fourth financial blueprint will put Australia's gross debt at $940 billion this financial year, $6 billion more than last year's forecast. But Dr Chalmers says the situation was far worse when Labor came to power.
A turnaround of more than $200 billion since we came to office, $177 billion less Liberal debt, $60 billion less interest on that debt. This is what happens when you manage the budget in the most responsible way.
A motorcyclist is in hospital after a crash at Hackham this morning. It happened on Higgins Street just after 3 a.m. The rider, a 25-year-old man from Oaklands Park, has non-life-threatening injuries. Police checks showing the Kawasaki motorbike had been stolen from Huntfield Heights in December. Bombs have been found in a Tesla dealership in Texas. It comes amid increasing attacks on the car maker and its owner, Elon Musk, who's led the Trump administration's Department of Government Expenditure. The US Attorney General has ruled cancelled. Those found targeting Tesla, even keying cars, will be tried as domestic terrorists. Questions have been raised about whether the Pope's light duty order will prevent him from attending a meeting with the royal family. King Charles and Queen Camilla are scheduled to visit the Vatican in about 2 weeks. Europe correspondent for 9, Hannah Sinclair, says a decision is yet to be made.
The question now is, will they meet the Pope in person? Obviously, when he was in hospital, that didn't look like it would be possible.
The Trump administration is expected to unveil the first details of a sweeping reciprocal import taxes deal next week. Meat is on the chopping block, as well as wine, pharmaceuticals, sugar and technology. The announcement will be made on the 2nd of April. Meantime, the White House has confirmed a journalist was accidentally sent a text about national security plans to strike Houthi rebels. Communications about the war strikes were made in a group chat with National Security Advisor Michael Waltz and the Vice President J.D. Vance, the journalist accidentally included. The blueprint for the 2032 Olympic and Paralympic Games will be released today. Following a 100-day review into Games infrastructure, the Queensland Government will unveil where all sport will be held in Brisbane. Olympic gold medalist Kate Campbell says the time for talk is over.
I think that we are going to see some concrete plans finally. I think we've had enough talking, enough deliberating. I think what is handed down today will largely carry through and be what we see in Brisbane 2032.
Turning to 5AA Sport.
Gliderroll Garage Doors, adding strength, style and safety to your home. Gliderroll.com.au.
And with more sport, Tom Wren.
Thank you, Matty. Yeah, Port Adelaide's players, they're going to hit the training track at Alberton this morning as they prepare for Thursday night's massive clash against Essendon. That's going to be at Marvel Stadium. The Power will have to make at least 3 changes, with Jack Lukosius out after having knee surgery yesterday, while defenders Ryan Burton and Lockie Jones will also miss at least the 1 week after they picked up niggling injuries in the match against Richmond. The Crows will have a light day, with their match not happening until Sunday at home against North Melbourne. Meantime, Geelong defender Connor O'Sullivan has been awarded the Rising Star Award after his 15 touches and 7 marks against St Kilda. Well, Socceroos coach Tony Popovic is determined for his side to overcome its habit of slow starts in tonight's World Cup qualifier. Australia faces China in front of more than 80,000 fans, and Popovic wants the players to put the pressure on early.
Our starts, yes, that's something that we want to improve, which will make it easier for us, but we expect a difficult opponent. They're at home. We expect them to come out very fast. We have to match that.
Meantime, New Zealand has qualified for the tournament for the first time since 2010 in South Africa after beating New Caledonia 3-0 in the Oceania playoff. Well, Manly Sea Eagles captain Daly Cherry Evans has announced he'll be walking away from the NRL club at the end of the season. The 36-year-old captain has rejected a 2-year offer to extend his contract. And in some tennis to finish, mixed results so far for the Aussies at the Miami Open. Adam Walton moving through to the 4th round after a hard-fought 3-set win, but Jordan Thompson lost. Fellow Aussie Alex de Minaur will be in action later this morning. And that's the 5AA Sport.
5AA's traffic.
Keyser Physiotherapy, Rehabilitation and Strength Training. Build strength with precision at Keyser Norwood.
Delays clearing from an earlier smash at Karata Park. It's on Anzac Highway, just near the shopping centre heading into the city. We're slow for works at the moment at Glenelg East, Brighton Road near Dunbar Terrace. Getting busy as we speak. Main North Road at Enfield, slow. South Road at Clovelly Park with a camera Whites Road at Parallel with this morning. ESPN is coming to Disney Plus. Live events, epic sporting moments and 10,000 hours of action, including the upcoming NBA playoffs. ESPN on Disney Plus. Turn it on. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
5AA's forecast.
Switch and save on service and repairs. Call 1300 Automasters.
Sunny days ahead, 31 today, 32 tomorrow and Thursday, and for Friday, 33. Right now it is 15, 5AA, always Adelaide.
Streaming live via the 5AA Player app on DAB Digital Radio and on 1395 AM. This is 5AA, always Adelaide.
The Hyundai Keys to Summer event ends soon. Unlock offers now. Visit Hyundai.com.au.
David Penberthy and Will Goodings, 5AA Breakfast.
7 minutes after 8. Beautiful, bright morning outside ahead of another warm autumn day in South Australia where there's going to be no rain, but there's going to be a lot of sun.
You feel guilty enjoying the weather at the moment, given what the farms are going through.
Completely.
I sort of think summer's made its point. You know, can it just start to cool down? Please?
31. Again.
It's beach weather.
It's 30 all week. It's not as though this is one out of the box.
No.
Just extraordinary. Breaking 8's coming up in a moment. Jade Robin's going to talk to us about the remarkable spread of petrol prices across Adelaide this morning. You generally get hot spots. You'll get areas where it's a little bit more expensive or areas where it's a little bit cheaper. Today, it's remarkable what's going on out there. So Jade is going to crunch the numbers and give us a real in-depth fuel watch this morning at 8:20. David Kosh will be on the program previewing the federal budget. I'm sure he'll want to talk about Port's big win over the weekend as well. Kosh, he'll be up and about.
I think it's only fair, given that we put him on the spot last week about the succession plan and all of that.
Succession plan's dominating.
We'll give him a couple of rank half volleys outside off that he can dispatch to the boundary.
Hey, Kosh, how good's the succession plan?
That's right. How good's footy?
And then Inspector Josh Hines from the Sapole Far North Local Service area on that outback rescue that took place. No, it took place in terms of extracting the people yesterday, but they spoke to them the day before. They got them a satellite phone. They got them supplies the day before. So this is a multi-day operation that took place in the most remote part of South Australia. So looking forward to Josh's insights before 9 o'clock.
Well, after the bombshell court revelation that a group of overseas students appear to have voted illegally at the last Adelaide City Council elections, the council is now grappling with the pretty vexed issue of what happens next. Does it just force aside the one councillor who was implicated in this scandal, which is Jing Lee, or does it vacate the entire central ward, which would basically mean that 4 of the current 12 Adelaide City councillors would be stood down pending an expensive by-election to re-elect 4 councillors for the remaining life of the term of this council. My understanding is that tonight there's a push, and I'm not sure if it's a done deal that it's necessarily going to happen, but there is a push on by a group of councillors led by Councillor Henry Davis to have a special meeting of the Adelaide City Council to resolve this issue once and for all this evening. We have Councillor Davis on the line. Councillor Davis, good morning, and thanks for joining us for Breaking at 8. What does happen from here? And firstly, given that you and also Councillors Mary Kouris and Aman Abrahimzadeh are pushing for this special meeting tonight, does that mean that it will definitely go ahead?
Well, one of the difficulties will be the numbers that actually turn out. So I believe that the 4 Central Ward candidates should probably declare a conflict of interest in the motion. And so hopefully we can obtain a quorum and people show up to do their jobs. But it'll really be debated tonight to see what the outcome will be.
Because it does seem to be quite an unacceptable state of affairs. I mean, there was enough that came out in this court case, and our good friend Sean Fewster did a great job covering it. But there's enough there for a real cloud to exist over the head of these. Certainly Jing Lee, but possibly the other councillors too, is there not?
Absolutely, and probably the area councillors and the Lord Mayor as well, and even in South Ward. So the comments are quite broad. I think there was a huge number of votes that were implicated in this election, and it really does mean, in my view, that the 4 Central Ward candidates were not democratically elected. But the court, I think, should give consideration to, and it's a matter for them, but we can speculate outside it. But the way that the quota system works in the City of Adelaide, it's not just a first past the post. So even if there was no wrongdoing or influence on the other 3 councillors, because there's 4 councillors in the Central Ward, there still should be a by-election for all 4 because of the way that the quota system works in council elections, which is different from state and federal.
Correct me if I'm wrong too, Henry Davis, but from memory, it was the Lord Mayoral race was a very tight 3-way contest between Rex Patrick, the former Lord Mayor Sandy Verschoor, and the successful Lord Mayoral candidate Dr. Jane Lomax-Smith. But there was a cigarette paper between them with those results.
It was 52 votes between Rex Patrick and the Lord Mayor. I was representing Rex Patrick in the Court of Disputed Returns. I'm also a solicitor, so I was acting as solicitor briefing counsel in that matter. Rex Patrick eventually withdrew that action because we opened up these ballot papers which actually preferenced Sandy Verschoor over Jane Lomax-Smith. So, but the question there is how many of these votes were actually impacted, because 52 is not very many. We're talking about hundreds and hundreds of students being enrolled to vote, like 600, like a huge increase in the number of enrolments in Central Ward, like 40%. Whereas in North Adelaide, there was a 1% increase at the same time. So this is a massive coordinated effort. Now, with all things fraud, it's kind of hard to uncover. It's taken 3 years to get to this point where the court is now satisfied that illegal practices have occurred in Central Ward. But it definitely has a huge cloud hanging over the City of Adelaide at the moment, and whether, who was actually democratically elected. Even in South Ward, where I am, which hasn't really come under scrutiny before, there's also mention of activity in the report from the court. So the whole City of Adelaide, it's whether it's democratically elected or not, I think is in serious doubt. We need to take stock at this. I think the whole council should really be cleaned out, but I'm hoping that the court will resolve, at least for the Central Ward councillors, to be removed from office.
So if it was just up to you, Henry, what would you like to see happen from here?
It's hard, isn't it? Because we don't know the extent of this fraud. I mean, my understanding is it's hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of new enrolments of international students, and their ballots were collected to some extent. And we don't know exactly what that was. So really, my view is that the whole City of Adelaide should be replaced. I think the only safe person really is North Ward, because they don't have these international student towers. But South Ward, Central Ward, the area councillors, the Lord Mayor, we're all wrapped up in this. So the court won't be considering that, and I think ultimately that won't be the direction. That would be what I would do, is clear the whole lot out, start again, but I think it'll just be the Central Ward that goes up for a vote.
Do you think, Henry Davis, that there might be a view on council that, given how far we are into this term, that there's a bit of shoulder shrugging where people are saying, well, look, it is what it is. Clearly there's been issues, but it's too late in the piece to basically unscramble the omelette now and re-elect everyone from scratch when the next elections are, only a bit over a year away, aren't they?
Yeah, about a year and a half away. So the deadline under the Local Government Act is next year. So if a vacancy occurs in January next year, there is no by-election. But if there's a vacancy that occurs this side and this year, then there will be an election, and that's mandated under the Local Government Act. So it is a bit I'm really frustrated that it's taken this long to get here. I'm pretty critical of the Electoral Commissioner. It's very bold of me to say as someone seeking office, but this could have been resolved a lot quicker, I think, and it was really delayed. But the council's made a huge number of decisions over the last 3 years that stand under the Local Government Act. So those motions aren't in doubt, but it really does, question whether the term of office, whether Jane was properly elected, and it gives real consideration, I think, at a federal level, at the highest levels, of what China's involvement is in local government elections. I mean, there were 2 foreign nationals that were influencing the outcome of a city council election. That's pretty concerning.
The other thing, though, is there a broader philosophical question about why are overseas students allowed to vote in the Adelaide City Council elections? If you're a non-citizen and you've come here from, Guangzhou to study commerce for a few years before you jump back on your, flight back to China, why are you even voting in an Australian council election?
That's a very, very good question. And I believe that there's a bill coming to Parliament on that topic. You only need to be a resident of the city for a month. So you could be a backpacker who's, picking fruit for a month, and all of a sudden you can vote. There were election ballots going to, 6 of them going to one single bedroom, very small student accommodation room. So there was 6 ballots going in, and this mass enrolment that happened, that should have signalled alarm bells straight away, and really the government should have stepped in to do something. But the court process is lengthy, it's expensive, it's cost. One of the things I'll be asking for tonight is a report on how much this has actually cost the City of Adelaide and what our involvement was in speeding it up or slowing it down. But there's a lot of questions to be answered now, and it really does call into question our democracy and the influence from foreign nationals acting in it. But yeah, they probably shouldn't. Why does someone who doesn't hold Australian citizenship, why are they voting in a council election? Isn't that one of the main rights and advantages you get as a citizen? So we need to
And
have
as a
a
ratepayer.
discussion around that as a ratepayer, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll follow it up tomorrow after whatever transpires tonight. Thanks for joining us this morning. Councillor Henry Davis there from the Adelaide City Council. What a fiasco. Do you reckon if you're studying in China, you're allowed to vote up there? When old Xi Jinping's going for another term?
Well, you only get to vote if you're in the Chinese Communist Party for a start.
Oh, so you've got to be a member.
I think the party will just simply decide who the next leader's going to be. There's no
it's all
choice.
a bit academic up there.
Yeah, you don't get to pick.
I reckon
there's
the
no
smart money's
opposition.
on Xi.
There's no opposition leader. Rex Patrick might be in the intriguing position of having to choose between being a senator for South Australia and the Lord Mayor of Adelaide.
Yeah. I've just been told by Frank Pangello's office, Frank Pangella, actually, he introduced a bill making Australian citizenship compulsory for local government voting, passed the Legislative Council last week.
Well, that's a no-brainer. I mean, that's a case of legislation not keeping up with the reality. We have a huge industry in South Australia now, which is international students. Brings a lot of money. It funds the university and tertiary education sector. That's all great, but the legislation simply hasn't caught up with what the reality of living in Adelaide at the moment is.
I'm not going full tinfoil hat on this, but there were actually quite serious suggestions that the Chinese consulate in Joslin played some role in personnel.
Well, it's a big building, isn't it?
Yeah.
What's going on
I suppose
there?
they got nothing else to do with their time.
And you knew it was an anomalous result when suddenly more people signed up to vote in the local government election, didn't you?
Yeah,
it's not something Australians typically tend to do.
Yeah, exactly.
Let's check traffic thanks to Corporate Clean Property Services. They're referred for a reason, because after all, they don't cut corners, they clean them.
Thanks, Will. Delays clearing from that earlier smash at Karata Park, Anzac Highway to the shopping centre. We are getting busy at the moment. Main North Road at Enfield. A little bit slow with traffic Poodle and the Porter Expressway at Port Adelaide, and speeds at 40 for works at Highgate Cross Road near Hampstead Avenue. Cameras Langman Grove, Felixstowe and 6th Avenue at Joslin. Guzmani Gomez Brekkie is the best thing on the menu, serving until 10:30am. Grab a $5 brekkie burrito and coffee, only at GYG Greenacres, only till Friday. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
The 5AA Sports Show. Rowie and Timmy G.
Crows, I said, did I not? They need to announce themselves. And I think they did. Now, albeit against Essendon. And I did say the combined combination of the Crows win and the Port win will be over 120 points.
You did. It was 133.
133.
No, it's over.
The 5AA Sports Show.
Timmy, I call that all due credit to myself.
Weekdays from 4 p.m. on 5AA. Always Adelaide.
At Mawson Lakes Volkswagen, choosing your new Volkswagen is easy. They're clearing all 2024 plated Volkswagens. How good is this? You get free on-roads, free stamp duty and 12 months worth of rego. All are ready for immediate delivery. And we have easy finance options and remember our next day servicing. Mawson Lakes Volkswagen's 2024 plate clearance. You'd better be quick. Salisbury Highway, just a short drive from the city.
Hi, Daniel Tarley here, General Manager of Home. That's HAUME. Put simply, we buy homes. We don't charge fees, there's no advertising costs or commissions, none of that. We just make the process of selling your home easy. So if you're looking to downsize and have a home built before the 90s, we'll be able to help you save time, money and the effort it takes to sell. Thinking of downsizing? Visit home.com.au. That's HAUME.com.au.
The most frustrating thing about having your car repaired after a collision can be the wait. Sometimes months. At Premier Panel Services, the wait is one thing you won't have to worry about. We've expanded our workshop and our highly skilled team. It means we're better equipped to deliver an outstanding outcome for you and your car. RAA and MTA approved, Premier Panel Services work with most insurance companies. So ask for Premier Panel Services and get back on the road sooner.
Want to stay living at home as independently as possible? That can come with risks, like falling, especially if you're by yourself. A Vital Call personal alarm can bring peace of mind that rapid response is always there for urgent help. 24 hours a day, 365 days a year. Before anything happens, get a Vital Call personal alarm. You might even be eligible for a free one. Call 1300 Vital Call now.
The new Subway Signature Philly-style 3-cheese steak with tender, juicy steak and triple cheesy, melty goodness. It's your shortcut to Tasty Town. Sounds sublime.
Rosanna Mangiarelli here from 7 News. Join me and Will Goodings for Adelaide's leading news hour, 7 News, tonight at 6 o'clock.
The Hyundai Keys to Summer event ends soon. Unlock offers now. Visit Hyundai.com.au.
David Penberthy and Will Goodings, 5AA Breakfast.
22 minutes after 8. Let's head out on the road and check in again with our own Jade Robran. Morning again to you, Jade.
Good morning, gents. Now, driving around this morning, I noticed a massive difference in petrol prices. I've seen anything from $1.60 to nearly $1.90. Thank goodness we're still under that $2 mark, but the discrepancy out there is wild. Here's a snapshot, okay? So, unleaded, Hackney Road, Hackney, $1.59. On the Parade Norwood, it jumps up to $1.75. Down south, the most expensive we can see across a whole of Adelaide is $1.89 at the Ampol in Noarlunga Downs on Goldsmith Drive. Then it's $1.85 at the Ampol O'Halloran Hill on Main South Road. But then down the road at the Caltex at Hallett Cove, it is $1.59. So where is the consistency here? It is very odd. But up north, it's $1.84 at the Caltex in Parafield Gardens on Salisbury Highway. And then just a stone's throw away at the OTR Parabanks on Salisbury Highway, it's $1.59. Up in the hills, the Adelaide Hills, they're often a tad more expensive than the Adelaide Plains. This morning, it's $1.89 in Mount Barker and $1.85 in Littlehampton. Lots of servos are sitting in the $1.60 and $1.70 range, as I said. So if you do see them, pull on in and fill her up. But next things to potentially impact the petrol cycle, of course, Gather Round is only a few weeks away. And with the influx of tourists and people driving over from Melbourne, and then, of course, Easter just a few days after that, and school holidays, you would expect that they will say, oh, the cycle's at its peak then, and we'll all get stung, no doubt. But I stopped and asked a few people at the Bowser about their filling up habits, and here is what they had to say.
Dennis, before you filled up today, did you pay any attention to how much petrol cost?
Yes.
Are you finding it on a little bit of a more expensive side, or are you noticing that the prices are varying a lot?
They are varying a lot, yes. But it is certainly expensive.
So did you go all the way to the top, or just a tiny bit before, and you can scoot around and find somewhere cheaper?
I will be finding somewhere cheaper. No, I did not go all the way to the top.
Nicole, when you fill up, do you pay any attention to the cost of petrol?
Yeah, I do.
Did you today?
I did. I saw it 10 cents cheaper down the road, so I'm mad.
So did you go all the way to the top, or just a teeny tiny bit and go somewhere cheaper?
All the way to the top.
Damn it!
Oh, well, all good.
Robert, good morning. When you're filling up, do you pay any attention to the price of petrol?
Yes.
Did you today?
Yes.
And did you think it was on the more expensive side?
Yes.
Did you fill all the way up, or just a tiny bit?
Enough to find somewhere else during my driving around Adelaide that is cheaper. And there are.
It is a bit of an oddity, petrol, at the moment. So the oil barrel price, as we speak, just using West Texas crude as the benchmark, $69 a barrel now. You might recall, in the end of May 2022, and I reckon it was shortly after this time we started talking about the reduction of the fuel excise here in Australia to artificially suppress prices. The oil barrel price was nearly $120 a barrel, so it's almost twice as much the trading price around the world. At other points, middle of last year, if you get to say, let's have a look at, about this time last year, early April, it was about $89 a barrel, 60, as I said, 68, 69 as we speak. So it's come down. I'm not convinced petrol's followed it as closely as it often does. The low points in the last decade, April 13, 2020, got down to $17 a barrel, but that post-COVID sort of
why does the barrel fluctuate so much, but the Bowser price doesn't?
Well, this is a great question.
If the barrel's half price, why isn't it half price at the pump? Why don't you pay $1 a litre?
Another wonderful question.
None of this makes sense.
Of course, back in May 30, 2022, of course, war in Russia and things like that were causing issues. But it is a peculiar...
You sound like Albert explaining why we haven't got $275. Remember that interview?
Yeah.
That was a bit of a
It was war in
shambles.
Russia. It was the price of coal. It was,
we weren't even
it was the
trying to trip him
vibe.
up.
It was $1.59 in Hackney, $1.89 in Noarlunga Downs. You're getting stiffed in the south this morning. That might constitute the most comprehensive fuel watch ever, Jade. That was great. With hundreds of ways to save every day, it's better to be a member with RAA Rewards. Let's head to Tea Tree Gully because Glenn's called in on this. Morning, Glenn.
Yeah, good morning, guys. Just a quick one. I've just come in from Tea Tree Gully and I just rang through and I'm sitting at Scotty's. Prices have ranged on North East Road alone from 172.5 down to 153.9.
Yeah, it's
crazy.
Good point, Glenn.
It's like throwing a handful of weed at a barn door.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Thank you, Glenn. Appreciate it.
You know the job you want in Adelaide right now? Service station refit person. Every single survey is just like, I was talking about going to Caltex and Aldinga. I noticed yesterday it's BP. The on the run down the road from us, I think, is now a Shell.
Mm.
Is it because the Shaheen sold out of on the run and now?
Yeah, it could be.
There's like just all these different players.
Well, my sense it's also an
moving in.
incredibly profitable industry to be in. It feels like it's undergoing. Remember how every pub got redone once pokies were allowed in? Because this huge influx of money. It feels like as the petrol station has transitioned from being a place where you have petrol to basically the corner store. They've got it all refit and remodeled and refurbed.
They sell Enzo's lasagna now down the road from us.
Yeah, that's why we don't have corner shops anymore.
They sell Barossa sausages, Barossa meat sausages, and it's crazy.
Yeah, I think they're doing all right.
I reckon they're not supermarkets.
5AA News is coming up in just a moment. Koshi will join us on 5AA Breakfast.
Frankie said she's a fan of impersonation.
Thank you very much.
But not of people impersonating Australia Post. That's why we've made all delivery updates available on the AusPost app, so she'll know they're from us, and us alone. You ask, we deliver at Australia Post.
Adelaide's local, trusted and truly connected talkback radio station. 5AA. Always Adelaide.
Unique, loyal, fun-loving. That's what we look for in our pals. When you're next spending time with your best friends, don't forget some of the best pals you can have. Parafield Airport Liquor Store has your everyday favourites right through to those hard-to-find products. That's what great pals do. Sam and Jamie from Parafield Airport Liquor Store know every drop on the shelf, so you can always rely on their advice. Parafield Airport Liquor Store. Pals. Next to Roulette's Tavern, Kings Road, Parafield.
No one loves a clean truck more than Ray Pepper. Now, Ray, what he did, he even launched his own truck washers, and it started there. And then he thought, well, I've made the best truck washers. Maybe I could make the best washing product. And that's precisely what he did and developed his own truck strength cleaning products.
Now, I've used some of this stuff and can attest to it. Now you can get your hands on the whole range of SA-made Pepper's truck strength cleaning products. And you don't need a massive convoy-style rig to use them. They're for cars, caravans, your boat, or even your home, made right here in SA. There are cleaners and protectants for the interior, detergents, waxes and polishes for the exterior, and glass cleaners, tyre shiners, as well as sponges, cloths and brooms.
You can make it shine like never before because everything goes better with a bit of Pepper. Shop online and check out the Pepper's starter pack. It's got a bit of everything and it's just $69.90. Go to peppersaustralia.com.au.
This is 5AA News. Always Adelaide.
Sunny 31 for Adelaide today with the 8:30 news. I'm Matthew Pantelis.
Physio Extra offers Locomat and Armio robotic technology services at their Marion and Eastwood clinics. PhysioExtra.com.
A microalgae killing fish off the Fleurieu Peninsula has been identified. Karina Mikimotoy has been able to cause allergic type responses in humans like respiratory and eye irritation or skin rashes. The EPA expects the microalgae will dissipate naturally over time depending on wind, swell and tidal conditions. Waipinga Beach and Parsons Beach will remain closed until further notice. Jim Chalmers will aim to shield Australia from global shocks when the Treasurer delivers his fourth budget tonight. In what will be a highly political speech, Labor will seek to help local industry deal with the danger of a growing trade war. University of New South Wales Professor of Economics Richard Holden says it's no easy task forecasting how America's tariffs will impact Australia.
We have to kind of pay full freight under threat from Donald Trump, all these things. We may need to say, look, we're going to kind of compensate people across the economy to the tune of $20 or $30 or $40 billion a year for the next 4 years. You want to have the wiggle room to be able to do that.
In the midst of a cost of living crisis, though, Australians are spending $716 a year on average to hire a cleaner. A survey from Finder shows more households are outsourcing household chores. 15% hired a cleaner, 13% paid for a gardener. The White House has confirmed top national security advisors have accidentally discussed sensitive war plans with a journalist on a group chat. Nine's US correspondent Reid Butler.
The editor of The Atlantic magazine, Jeffrey Goldberg, was included in an encrypted messaging chain on Signal, a commercial service available on the App Store that anybody can download. But chatting in this group was Vice President J.D. Vance, Defence Secretary Pete Hegseth, and National Security Advisor to Donald Trump, Mike Waltz. The group was discussing upcoming strikes against the Houthi terror organisation in Yemen earlier this month. After the first bombs dropped in Yemen, they celebrated, Waltz with a fist, a US flag and a flame emoji. The White House has confirmed the message chain's authenticity. There's now an investigation underway into how the journalist was accidentally added to the group.
Another bid to solve one of Adelaide's distressing child abduction mysteries will begin on the weekend. Two sites in the mid-north between Jamestown and Orroroo, previously searched by police, will be again examined more extensively in a private search for the remains of missing girls Kirsty Gordon and Joanne Ratcliffe. The girls, aged 4 and 11 respectively, were abducted from the Adelaide Oval in August 1973. New research shows 1 in 7 Australians have fallen victim to the "Hi Mum, Hi Dad" scam text message. The message sent to a mobile device pretending a son or daughter is in trouble or has lost their phone and needs money urgently. Former police officer Kylie Dennis couldn't believe her own mum was almost fleeced $5,000.
Mum was believing that I needed this money immediately to pay for certain bills. And I actually said to her, "Had you thought, Mum, to ring my husband?" "No, I didn't," because the scammer isolated her to ensure that they needed her to do this immediately.
Overseas, and Turkey has experienced its largest wave of arrests in more than a decade. Hundreds detained over ongoing protests sparked by the arrest of Istanbul's mayor. His detention has been seen as a politically charged move, particularly as he's the key challenger in the upcoming presidential election. Turning to 5AA Sport.
Colours, custom design, any house, any style. Gliderol Garage Doors. Gliderol.com.au.
Not good news for Port Adelaide, Tom Wren.
No, it's not great, is it, unfortunately, Matty? And that is because the forward Jack Lukosius, he's had surgery on his knee as he now looks to recover from a fractured kneecap. He won't play on Thursday night against Essendon, nor will Ryan Burton or Lockie Jones, who are both also injured. Meantime, the Crows are having a nice, easy build-up towards Sunday's clash against North Melbourne at home. West Coast, meantime, has been issued a please explain by the AFL after Harley Reid was seen gesturing with his middle finger towards the crowd at the Gabba on Sunday. Leading football analyst Matthew Lloyd thinks the Eagles should demand the young star shift his focus.
2 games in a row where he just wants to fight, he wants to wrestle, he wants to get in the face of the opposition players rather than focus on the football. If I was Andrew McQualter, I'd get him in and say, okay, we'll put up with a bit now. It's time for you to let your footy do the talking. He seems like he's playing with a chip on his shoulder. He's just got to focus on playing footy.
Little-known Australian tennis player Adam Walton is on a career-best run moving into the round of 16 at the Miami Masters. The world number 89 will next play against Taylor Fritz and says he's relishing the experience.
It's a completely new opportunity. I've never played someone in the top 10, so that would be a special chance to share the court with someone top 10 and, just really excited.
Yeah, massive opportunity. South Australia's cricketers will train today ahead of tomorrow's Sheffield Shield final against Queensland. Meantime, Mitch Marsh has smashed 72 off only 36 balls for his Lucknow Super Giants, but they still lost to the Delhi Capitals in a thriller with 3 balls to play in their IPL clash overnight. And that's the 5AA Sport.
Now 5AA's traffic.
Keyser Physiotherapy, Rehabilitation and Strength Training. Build strength with precision at Keyser Norwood.
Delays clearing from that earlier smash at Karata Park, Anzac Highway to the shopping centre. A little bit slow for works at Riverlea Park, Port Wakefield Road near Carmelo Road. Sluggish at Fulham, Henley Beach Road near Chippendale Avenue. It speeds at 40 in the Parklands for works this morning. Green Hill Road near Peacock Road. Early morning Canberra, Seaford Road, Seaford and Shakespeare Avenue at McGill. With over $735 million in today's USA Power Lotto. Get more zeros in your life with Australia's own lotteryoffice.com.au. Hurry, draw closes in less than 3 hours. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
5AA's forecast.
Switch and save on service and repairs.
Call 1300 Automasters.
Sunny days for Adelaide, 31 today, 32 tomorrow and Thursday, 33 on Friday, right now 16. 5AA, always Adelaide.
Are you contemplating aged care for yourself or loved one? Are you not sure where to start? Are you RCR ready? RCR Financial will give you the confidence to make informed decisions, to understand the options, the costs, and how it will impact things like estates and pensions. RCR Financial will take the stress out of your aged care decisions. Are you ready to take the next step? Search for RCR Financial today or see us on the parade, Norwood.
The passing of someone close places unique stress on family and friends. At this time, Farrell and O'Neill Funerals are here to provide reassurance and peace of mind. Farrell and O'Neill offer creative guidance and advice to tailor a service that best honours your loved one. Whether a large gathering or a small, intimate service, Farrell and O'Neill share their generations of experience in tailoring a unique and meaningful farewell. Proudly SA family-owned and operated, because it's personal.
The Hyundai Keys to Summer event ends soon. Unlock offers now. Visit Hyundai.com.au.
David Penberthy and Will Goodings. 5AA Breakfast.
22 minutes to 9. Hoping to speak with David Kosh very shortly on 5AA Breakfast, and also Inspector Josh Hines from the Sapole Far North Local Service Area, who was a part of the rescue operation that managed to find, and that was the first challenge, and then retrieve that group of missing people, 4 of them, including a 6-year-old boy that was stranded in the far north as a result of floodwaters. We're just having a little trouble with our phone at the moment, so we won't be able to get to them just yet. Plenty of time for your text, though, on the Police Home Care text line. And a good morning, too. I'm not sure if this is typically what they do, David, when people get off the cruise ships, whether they tune to 5AA. If they don't, they should.
They do.
But good morning to those on the Crown Princess that's just arrived from Outer Harbour. 3,674 people on board, part of a 28-night cruise around Australia. You get to see the sights, and they're going to be seeing the sights here in Adelaide for a day.
So they'll get to come into town or, do whatever they want.
What would you do if you were in Adelaide just for today? Just literally
for one day.
The 25th of March, 2 day. What are you going to do? What are you going to see?
Well, if I landed at Outer Harbour, I reckon I'd see if I could go and play 9 holes at the North Haven Golf Course.
Oh, yeah.
And then maybe go into Port Adelaide, get some tacos at La Popular Taqueria, which is the best.
So you keep in the area. You don't need to travel into the city.
I wouldn't come into town. There's plenty to do in Port Adelaide. That place, La Popular Taqueria, it's owned by a rigid lady from Mexico City who has her own tortilla machine. So you get you walk in the
great.
smell
I love that place.
of the corn. Oh,
it's not alone though in Port Adelaide. Low and Slow.
I've never been there.
Oh, you haven't lived.
Yeah, everyone raves about that
It's
joint.
so good.
A lot of good stuff to do in the port. I want to go to the old big shed that has become a little. What's it called? Is it called the neighbourhood? It's like a little speakeasy type bar.
You mean the original big shed that's
it's
on
now become
Frederick
help
Road,
me out,
off
folks.
Frederick Road.
Right, the one off Frederick Road down the
I
Port
love
Road
that
end.
place.
It's a little speakeasy now, and you can go in there and have a few beers and a few snacks. But it's in that industrial area where the big shed started before it moved to Port Road.
That's
Terrific
fantastic. Business. Plenty to do there. If you got a
Speaking
suggestion,
of Port Adelaide,
wow, exactly right. As they said in Jurassic Park, John, the phones are working.
David Kosh on 5AA Breakfast.
Yeah, lots to do in the port if you're getting off the ship this morning. And I reckon the locals will be up and about, having seen their team take apart the Tigers on Saturday. Port Adelaide Football Club Supremo and Compare the Market Economic Director, David Kosh. Good morning to you.
Good morning, chaps. It was a good weekend, but I feel like investing in a private hospital at the moment. We've got...
Yeah.
Oh, my goodness.
Well, poor old Jack, he had his first segment with us, Kosh. He is our new regular from Port Adelaide this year. Yeah.
You put the mockers on them all, don't you?
I got to say, though, mate, he was such a lovely young bloke, and it was so good having him in the studio. And, I mean, how cruel. He's played one game in about 10 minutes for you guys.
Oh, I know. It was the most innocuous thing. He started to hobble off, and I thought, what the hell? I think it was his first involvement. So, Yes, we're certainly running out of tall players at the moment. But anyhow, I might have to pull on the boots at 192. I reckon I'll be a giant there.
Yeah, might be playing a key position role in defence there,
It was
Koshi.
an emphatic return to form, though, mate. And we were probably slightly annoying with our questions last week, so happy to.
No, but you're free to come on this morning and say, how good is the succession plan?
Yeah. No, it's only round 2.
I think a few us Crows people need to.
I start to get excited about July. Which is, it's a long season, that's for sure.
Koshi, federal budget day today. We thought it'd be good to get you on ahead of the budget. And while, there's some sparse details have come out about what's in it, but wanted to get a sense from you, for our listeners that maybe they watch it every year, maybe they never watch it, maybe they're interested in tuning in and having a look tonight or just reading the coverage afterwards. What are the key things you look for as someone who's made a career in the financial industry? What are the things that interest you, intrigue you, and what's the easy way for people who haven't done this before to sort of have an overview and a look and feel like they've gleaned the key bits of information?
See, remember, this is the nation's blueprint, economic and financial blueprint for the next 12 months. So we're all part of the economy. So this is the basis of our household financial blueprint as well. Now, you're going to get lots of political coverage that this is a budget that's only going to last for 5 weeks. They'll be talking about government debt and all government spending. Yes, to an economics nerd, they are really important. But for all the rest of us, it is the key things. Unemployment figure. What's the forecast for unemployment over the next 12 months? Because that relates to the safety of your job. Wage increases. They'll have a prediction on what Treasury is predicting for wage increases. Inflation, obviously. If the forecast changes on inflation because of tariffs, what's happened with Trump and overseas and the global trade wars, if that's going to push inflation up or keep it higher, then the consequences are probably interest rates aren't going to be cut any further. So that's going to affect your mortgage and your personal loans and things like that. So I always look for those key factors that are going to affect my household budget, so I can plan for it ahead.
Does it worry you the size of the debt, Koshi? I mean, it's just Labor's trying to spin it as some sort of positive that it's not $1 trillion. Well, it's $940 billion.
Yeah, but remember, I always look at it as bring it back to your house. Debt to the value of the economy will be about 37%, 35, 40%. Now, if that was the debt to your equity in your house, you'd say, oh, yeah, that's pretty manageable. When you consider that Japan's debt to the size of their economy or the size of their house is 250% at the moment. Germany is around 100%. America is just over 100%. Compared to the rest of the world, we're in really good shape, and that's why we're one of only 9 countries in the world to have a AAA credit rating from all major credit rating agencies. So we can't be complacent about it, and we can't keep adding it up. The deficits, for the next 10 years are a bit of a worry because, debt will have to pay for those deficits down the line. But at the moment, it's pretty manageable.
The golden era, though, of the Howard Costello era, where it was just deficit, surplus after surplus after surplus. It feels like those days are gone, doesn't it?
Yeah, but remember that's when iron ore was at
true.
$250 a tonne and coal was $500 a tonne. We're a trading. We're one of the 10 biggest resource exporters in the world. So everything depends on those resources. That's where the government makes all its money, and often they use that as a slush fund within the budget because they underestimate the price of commodities for the year ahead. So they've got a bit of a slush fund up their sleeve that they can call on or make themselves look good. But iron ore's down around 100 has been dipping below that at times over the last 12 months. Coal is a bit down. It's at the bottom of the commodity cycle, so that's really affecting budgets. Having said that, the personal income tax take of the government is close to a record high. So you and I are paying for it because inflation over the last couple of years has put us all into higher tax brackets. So bracket creep has really worked its magic on the income side, and governments are spending records amount on infrastructure and renewable energy.
There's no incentive for governments to cut it, is there? Or to reform
No.
it? Because it's just
No.
it's a tap. It's a tap that continues to
we
allow
don't
them to
notice
spend.
it.
Yeah,
It's
that's
like
exactly
a
right.
toll. It's like a toll on a motorway. You just hear the beep. You don't realise it's going straight to your credit card.
Do you think there's a chance, because you said that this is a budget that might not last 5 weeks, and that'll be some of the narrative around it. Is there a chance that it's a budget that won't look the same in 8 days? Because that's Trump's Liberation Day. And, you just painted a picture of Australia as this export economy and resource-rich economy. Some of those inputs into the economy could look very different in just over a week's time, couldn't they?
Exactly right. And I'm looking forward to see, because the government or Treasury that does most of this, the budget papers, they put in a risk profile of the year ahead and highlight the major risks. And it'd be really interesting to have a look at that and read that on their take of tariffs. Remembering in the overall scheme of things, the biggest casualty of Donald Trump's tariff war is America, would you believe?
Yeah, totally.
That's the weird thing, because he's based his argument all on a lie by saying, we're going to impose tariffs because the exporting country pays for the tariffs. Well, no, the American consumer pays for the tariffs in terms of higher prices. So it's sort of crazy economic logic.
Well, it was great advice for our listeners watching the budget tonight and making it relate to your personal home budget. Koshi, we appreciate your insights as always, and we'll have plenty to dissect next week when you join us on 5AA Breakfast. Thank you for your time.
Good on you guys. Have a good week.
All right,
You too, Dave.
We're going to take a break. We'll check traffic, and on the other
Just
side
quickly,
of it,
it's the Woodshed. The Woodshed, thanks to
that's
Nick
what it's called.
and other people.
The
who texted
Woodshed.
in. The Woodshed.
Sounds excellent. We're going to take a break. We'll check traffic on the other side of it. Really looking forward to chatting with Inspector Josh Hines, who's part of the rescue operation for this family that was stranded in the far northern part of South Australia. That's next. First, traffic, thanks to Corporate Clean Property Services. They're referred for a reason. After all, they don't cut corners. They clean them.
Thanks, Willard. Salisbury Heights, a crash, Main North Road near Carrisbrook Park. Crafers, a breakdown on the freeway up track just before the Crafers turn off. And Karata Park delays clearing from an earlier crash. Anzac Highway to the shopping centre. That's heading inbound. Cameras, Briar Road, Felixstowe and 6th Avenue at Jocelyn. We win over $735 million in today's USA Power Lotto. Get more zeros in your life with Australia's own lotteryoffice.com.au. Hurry, draw closes in less than 3 hours. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Rowie and I are at a local restaurant who have invested in the magnificently sleek and reliable Vulcan doors. Rowie, could you step outside for a moment, please?
Oh, why is it always me outside?
Thank you. Vulcan doors offer automatic pedestrian doors as well as highly secure industrial roller doors and shutters.
Oi, Jimmy!
So keep out the heat as well as the pests that come with it.
Turbo, when are you going to let me back in?
Vulcan doors.
Jimmy!
Separate yourself
Oi!
from the rest, literally.
Oi!
5AA's Tech Talk with your host, Adelaide tech guy Richard Pascoe. Thanks to Harvey Norman Computers.
Harvey Norman is bringing the heat with massive savings on HP and Asus laptops. For a limited time, you can save up to 20%. Yes, 20%. Need a lightweight, reliable laptop for work or study? The HP 14S with 8GB of RAM is now just $598, saving you $130. For power users, the Asus VivoBook 15 with a huge 1TB terabyte of storage is now $888. That's over $300 off. Or step up to serious performance with the HP Intel Core Ultra 5 laptop boasting 16 gig of RAM, a steal at $1,098, saving you $600. Harvey Norman delivers the best brands, the best range, and the best prices guaranteed. Don't miss out on these tech bargains. Shop now. Terms and conditions apply.
Check out this great offer at a Harvey Norman store near you.
Over $100 million in transactions. That's a huge number. That's the value of commercial property transactions managed by Ray White Commercial Adelaide in what was just their first year. And that's the kind of success you get when you work with the most experienced commercial market sales team in Adelaide.
Now, these guys are total guns, lovely blokes. We met them the other day. 30 years of combined expertise, Oliver, Harry and Jack. They're Adelaide's best-in-class commercial specialists, and they've mastered the art of helping property owners achieve the best price across every asset type. And that can mean commercial office, industrial warehouses, retail outlets, childcare centres, medical facilities or prime development sites. They have got you covered.
Having local market knowledge with a strong national network of buyers looking to invest in SA, the team delivers results for everyone. Whether your property portfolio has one property or 10, RWC Adelaide can help you.
So if you're looking to sell your commercial property for the best price and want a stress-free process, with Ray White Commercial Adelaide, you're in safe hands. Head to rwcadelaide.com today.
There is care in simplicity. Our experienced team understand that keeping things simple and easy is the best approach. Visit simplicityfunerals.com.au or call us 24/7 to get started today. Simplicity Funerals. Easy, respectful, simple.
The Hyundai Keys to Summer event ends soon. Unlock offers now. Visit Hyundai.com.au.
David Penberthy and Will Goodings, 5AA Breakfast.
Seven minutes to 9. We spoke yesterday with, we set ourselves the challenge of how close can we get to the rescue that's going to be affected in the far north of the state. Had a wonderful chat with the local publican at Mount Dare about the kind of strife locals get themselves into and tourists more often get themselves into. Subsequent to that chat, police rescued 4 people, including a 6-year-old boy that was stranded by floodwaters. The group included a 40-year-old man, a 21-year-old man, and a 36-year-old woman. They left their vehicle, and that made the search a little bit more problematic. So there were 2 components of this. They had to be found, first and foremost, once they were reported missing, and then they needed to be rescued. That whole process was overseen by our next guest, Inspector Josh Hines from the Far North Local Service area. They're based at Port Augusta, but I tell you what, Inspector, the area that you coordinate is probably about as big as anyone's on planet Earth. And good morning to you.
Good morning, Dave. Good morning, Will. Yeah, it's a large area. It's bigger than a lot of European countries.
So you're based in Port Augusta, but you've still got responsibility for this area, even though it's a good, 15 hours drive away from where you are, Josh?
Yeah, it's fair to say. Yeah, so the Far North Local Service area, our headquarters is in Port Augusta, but we go the whole way up to the Northern Territory border and then up to the northeast, up to the Queensland border. So we've got a fair backyard that we're responsible for, with a lot of travel that occurs within the local service area as well.
You must use light aircraft for a lot of it, do you?
We do use the police plane to transport people up to and from the AP Wirelands, and on operations that require immediate transport, we'll utilise the plane. But quite often it's done the old-fashioned way by road, and you get the job done.
So what were some of the challenges you guys faced in first finding these guys, and then managing to get to them and get them out? Because it took place over a couple of days, didn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. We became aware that this group were missing at about 4 o'clock on Saturday afternoon, and the information we had is they'd taken off about 24 hours earlier to do the 5-hour drive. So the first challenge was the area that we knew they were travelling between Oodendada and Fink is about 500 kilometres, so it's a big area to search. And coupled by that, with all the rain we'd had in the days leading up to that, we had no way of getting vehicles out to that location because all the tracks were closed. So it became an aerial-only search for us.
Wow. How many officers were involved in it all up, Josh?
I haven't got the exact figures, but we did a lot of inquiries, from the stations and making phone calls and other bits and pieces. We utilised the Australian Maritime Safety Authority. They sent their Challenger jet over to support, so obviously they had involvement in this operation as well as the expertise of field search controllers from our Star Group based back in Adelaide. They supported the operation with their expert knowledge.
What's mobile reception like out there?
Non-existent.
Yeah.
Obviously, the regional towns like Oodnadatta's got phone coverage, depending on which carrier you're with. But once you sort of venture not too far out of those communities and those towns, it's pretty much satellite phone only.
So you had to drop them a satellite phone, didn't you? And I guess people listening will wonder why the process was give them the phone one day and then come back and get them the next. What prevented you from getting them in the first instance?
Yeah, so that, as I mentioned, we had support from the Australian Maritime Safety Authority with their search and rescue jet, which flew from the East Coast. So they were the ones that actually located the missing vehicle, and then shortly after that, the missing group. And they have a capability where they can deploy a care package from their aircraft,
right, I see.
Which included the phone. And then we had to organise the recovery of these people, which getting a helicopter from Adelaide up to that location doesn't take half an hour. It's a long process to get that helicopter up there. So we planned that on Sunday afternoon for the recovery on Monday morning.
Now, for the record, and just for our listeners, anyone that might be planning a trek out to the far reaches of South Australia, the advice is you never leave your car if something bad happens. Is that right?
Yeah, generally we say you stay with your car. The car provides you some shelter unless the car is in a position that's going to create more danger for you. However, there's lots of footage of this search out on mainstream media, and I'm sure you've probably seen it. The people are a lot harder to detect from the air, whereas the car is a lot easier to detect. So you stay with your car, a lot easier, more easily identifiable from the air, and it just helps us with recovering missing people out in the outback.
Hey, Josh, random question without notice. You mentioned doing a bit of work in the AP lands before. Do the coppers still have to use that red shed when you're in Freegon as the police station?
Well, funny you mentioned that, we've actually just about to have handover of a new police building in Freegon. So
oh, really?
No longer. So we'll hope to get some information out about that to the community in due course.
A mate of mine sent me a photo of that a few years ago when I was doing a story about some of the dramas in the APY land, and I thought it was some sort of wind-up that was actually being used as a police station.
I remember visiting that shed in 2007 when I went up there. So.
Full on. What an amazing country we
you
live
have some
in.
Stories to tell, Josh. We could talk to you for hours, mate. But well done with rescuing these guys. It's great to chat with you.
No dramas. Have a great day.
No, terrific work. Inspector Josh Hines, Funorth local service here. You get the feeling he's seen it all in his time out in that part of Australia.
Must be kind of fun, though, being up there. Like, you see some beautiful stuff driving around.
Be unbelievable.
Yeah.
It's not going to be quite as hot as it gets out there in Adelaide today, but it is going to be warm for autumn. 31 the expected top today. You cover the barbecue to protect it from the sun. The same goes for you. Be sun smart and cover up. We're out of time. Graham Goodings is coming up. Enjoy your Tuesday, and we'll be back tomorrow morning from 6 with our big budget wrap that'll feature all the big players here in South Australia that will rate the budget out of 10. That's tomorrow.
Coming up next on 5AA.